Welcome to the stream, everyone. My name's Brian Craig. This is where manga comes to talk. We're not on the radio yet. We won't be for about 10 or 15 minutes. So I just thought I'd do a little bit of a pre-show discussion of some things. If you're new, make sure you subscribe and please like the video. Liking the video helps so much. You know, I just did something I don't do all that often. And that is go to the Drudge Report. I don't know why I went to the Drudge Report today, but I did, and look what I found. I'm still setting up, guys. I gotta set up the phones to take calls. But look at this. USA plan to stranglehold Ukraine. Here we are. Ukraine is at war with a massive country, and us ending the war is a stranglehold. Don't they want the war to end? You know, there's been such an interesting change in the way things work, right? And the way that it worked during the Vietnam War era, the media were anti-war, and television media is credited with ending the Vietnam War, right? With the body bags on TV every night and everything else. And now the media, they're just so pro-war, it's insane. I don't get it at all. I guess after Vietnam, the military-industrial complex took it over, because wouldn't it seem that way? That's what it looks like to me, and that's just the way that it is. You would think that anyone who's a moral person wants the war to end. Who wants a war to continue, right? Nobody. You want the war to end. But no, not this one. So let's see what they say. USA plan to stranglehold Ukraine. The Telegraph revealed Trump's confidential plan to put Ukraine in a stranglehold. Are you kidding me? If it's confidential, how do they have it? If this is some confidential, top secret plan, they wouldn't have it. Donald Trump's demand for a $500 billion payback from Ukraine goes far beyond U.S. control over the country's critical minerals. It covers everything from ports and infrastructure to oil and gas and the larger resource base of the country. Well, you know what that's about. You got an echo? Is there an echo? Let me see. Let me double check, because I didn't hear an echo. I'll double check since we started early. I can check. Hold on. Everything from ports and infrastructure. No, the audio is fine. There's no echo. I was talking about this with The Art of the Deal. Now, I read The Art of the Deal again recently. I've got it right over here. You know, I read The Art of the Deal just like a month ago. This is a great book, The Art of the Deal. And you would really enjoy it. And all these people in the media and in the press, if they read this book, they would understand everything about Trump. And the thing about Trump that I took from this book is really simple, right? And it's this. No matter what he's dealing with, now he's doing it in politics, but he used to do this in business. He always asks for a boatload more than he wants. He always has these huge asks on and this is no secret. It's in his book, The Art of the Deal. And what happens is they get into negotiations, and then he makes concessions. And they're concessions on things that he doesn't even plan on or even want or knows are unrealistic. So he asks for the money back that we gave Ukraine, plus all these other deals. So he'll make some concessions. And mostly what he'll concede on is the money. He'll still want the minerals because they do have some rare earth minerals, and he'll want access to whatever he wants access to. But what they really don't want to give up is the money. And President Trump in the United States have the ability to not only take the money back, stop the money, get the money back, but they also have the ability to seize money in the bank accounts of Zelensky and all of his henchmen that are running Ukraine. That's filled with taxpayer money that they've been stealing. So this is just absurd. It's a joke. The terms of the contract landed on Zelensky's office a week ago. They amount to the U.S. economic colonization, they use the S's instead of the Z's, of Ukraine and legal perpetuity. It implies a burden of reparations that cannot possibly be achieved. The document has caused consternation and panic in Kiev. The Telegraph has obtained a draft of the pre-decisional contract marked privileged and confidential and dated February 7th that states that the U.S. and Ukraine should form a joint investment fund to ensure that hostile parties to the conflict do not benefit from the reconstruction of Ukraine. See, that's another thing. He wants the U.S. To have companies and workers that help rebuilding Ukraine so that we can get some of the money back that way. When we go live on the radio in a few minutes, I'll get in the Kash Patel guys. The agreement covers the economic value associated with resources of Ukraine, including mineral resources, oil and gas resources, ports, other infrastructure, as agreed, leaving it unclear what else might be encompassed. This agreement shall be governed by New York law without regard to conflict of laws or principles, it states. And I'm here to tell you, this is not a confidential report, or the Telegraph in the UK would not have it. The U.S. will take 50, what's PC, of recurring revenues received by Ukraine from extraction of resources, and 50 PC of the financial value of all new licenses issued to third parties. What's that stand for? Percentage? Is that what that stands for? PC? I don't know. But again, this is Trump asking for more than he wants or expects to get. So when he starts making concessions, he'll still get more than he wants. For the future monetization of resources, there'll be a lien on such revenues in favor of the United States. That clause means pay us first and then feed your children, said one source close to the negotiations. Believe me, the leaders and corrupt officials in Ukraine, no one in their family is going to go without food. Okay? They're all loaded. Okay, let me send I'm talking to Mike, the board up. And corrupt officials in... Okay. Zelensky himself proposed the idea of giving the United States a direct stake in Ukraine's rare earth elements and critical minerals on a visit to Trump Tower in September, hoping to smooth the way for continued arms deliveries. That's not going to happen. This is why Zelensky should not be at the peace talks, because Zelensky does not want peace. Zelensky wants war. And he's always going to want war because he's a creep. That's just it. Because it's profitable for him. And his handlers don't want peace. He calculated it would lead to U.S. companies setting operations on the ground, creating a political tripwire that would deter Putin from attacking again. That's right. If there's American companies and people all in Ukraine doing this, Putin would not dare attack. Very, very smart of Trump. I know, Trump is just so freaking smart, isn't he? He's brilliant. Let's go a new version. And if this draft were accepted, Trump demands would amount to a higher share of Ukrainian GDP than reparations imposed on Germany at the Versailles Treaty, later whittled down at the London Conference in 21. Trump told Fox Ukraine had essentially agreed to hand over $500 billion. They have tremendously valuable land in terms of rare earths, in terms of oil and gas, in terms of other things, he said. He warned that Ukraine would be handed to Putin on a plate if it rejected the terms. They may make a deal. They may not make a deal. They may be Russia someday, or they may not be Russia someday, but I want this money back, Trump said. What is wrong with that? Yeah, maybe I should go over this on the radio today. I wasn't going. Yeah, maybe I will. I'll keep it over here, and possibly we'll go over that today, because I mean that there's nothing unreal. Let me ask you. Yeah, we'll be on the air in 4 minutes on the radio. Do you think that Trump is asking anything that's unreasonable there from Zelensky? Is there anything there that he's asking for that is unreasonable? I don't think so. I think everything sounds very reasonable. It's the art of the political deal, man. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, we'll be live in 3.5 minutes. No, I mean, we've spent so much money there. Why should we be spending all this money there? That's crazy. Yeah. I mean, we've given them how much money since this war began? How much money have we given them? Do we even really know? Probably not. 3 minutes, guys. 3 minutes until showtime. Move the camera just a hair. and more money than the human mind can comprehend. They want you to think. Now, I love how they think the Holocaust happened because of free speech. Now they're telling us because of the reparations. No, it didn't happen because of reparations. It happened because the Germans are warmongers and anti-Semites. That's why it happened. They want to blame the Holocaust and World War II on anything other than the hate of Jews that the Germans had. And hate of freedom. I mean, look how they're embracing this restriction on freedom now in Germany. I covered that on the program yesterday. It's a different kind of oppression, but it's still oppression. Now, if you're new, my name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk, and in 2 minutes, we're going to be live on the radio. Our top of the hour break is going on if you're listening on iHeartRadio or in the background or something, you'd be able to hear. This is our top of the hour traffic and weather and commercials and such. And we'll be coming on at 4 minutes and 4 seconds after the hour. 4 minutes and 4 seconds after the hour. That's my cue. Welcome from the Philippines. Welcome, welcome. And if you'd like to call in, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat, and it's toll-free no matter where you're watching. Okay, just over a minute. Tom from the Gold Coast of Australia, welcome. My throat is really sore today. I've been talking too much. UK, welcome. Okay, less than a minute. See, these headphones, they have velvet in them. They're so comfortable. These are like the most comfortable headphones. They feel so good. Oh, man. My ears are surrounded by velvet. 30 seconds. Less than 30 seconds. All right, stand by. Oh, great. Okay, here we go. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 48 years on the radio. And man, oh man, do we have a lot to talk about today. Welcome, everyone. And if you'd like to call in, our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 465-2631. Okay, so the news has so many glorious things in it. Now, I want to first talk about Kash Patel, and when we talk about Kash Patel, I'm going to ask you a question about this. Kash Patel's vote's coming up in the committee. It's going to go to the floor. He is going to be confirmed. He is going to be the FBI director. And they've been putting this off. And and this is not, I think most people agree and have thought about what I'm going to share right now. But my thought has been that they are putting this off because they're destroying evidence and records. I mean, look, Peter Strzok the other day deleted every single tweet he had ever made. Think that's just a coincidence? Just a few days before Kash Patel is the FBI director? I wonder if any other people have been doing that. And what's been going on at the building? What have they been destroying there? It's bad enough they got DOGE, but now they've got Kash Patel coming in. So they've been putting this off to destroy evidence, and everybody thinks this. This is just a reality of it. But he will be confirmed. He will be the FBI director. And Pam Bondi probably has been laying back a little bit while she's getting comfortable in her position, waiting to have a partner in Kash Patel to carry out what they've got to do, because she really doesn't have anyone that has the authority that Kash Patel will have to go out and arrest people. So my question to all of you is a really simple question. Who do you think Kash Patel should arrest first? Who do you think Kash Patel should arrest first? There's a long list, and I know we've got all the lawfare people, right? Letitia, Fannie, all those people. The judges, Judge Mershon, corrupt, and all that stuff. But we've got a new breed of lawfare people working against DOGE. We've got these two federal judges that have been making rulings to stop President Trump from stopping the theft from the U.S. Treasury, stopping DOGE. One of the judges, his wife, has an organization that she gets USAID money. And the other judge, we find out, the one I was talking about yesterday, got another little piece of information on him. The judge that's a federal judge from Rhode Island, the one that in 2010, there was an article in Politico I shared with you all last week that there was a lot of talk that he was one of the biggest donors to the Democrat Party at that time, and they believe he may have donated $700,000 as a way to get the nomination and get appointed to the federal bench. So he was accused of buying his seat on the federal bench. And that was by liberal Politico in 2010. I read that article on the air last week. And the article is also on my X up there from last week. You have to scroll down and find it. But then we find out yesterday, and I shared this story on the air yesterday, and I got another update. We find out yesterday that the same judge that was accused of buying his federal judgeship has received boatloads of money for his NGO, his non-government organization. Then today, courtesy of the great Laura Loomer, I find out that the judge's daughter works for the Department of Education, which is also getting examined and cut off and shut down by Trump and DOGE and others. These two judges are so corrupt, and their corruption is currently causing problems. So when I ask you who Kash Patel should arrest first, who should be his first arrest, because, you know, we've got organized crime here. This is like in the early days of the FBI when J. Edgar Hoover was going up against, you know, all the prohibitionists, and he was running around, going after all those guys. So should Kash Patel focus on the new lawfare people, or should he go after, and I know I'm not saying don't go after them all, but if you only could go, you have to organize a little bit. Who should he go after first? The new lawfare people that think that they're running the country, that think they're the president of the United States in robes, or the lawfare people that have been harassing Trump in the courts in Fulton County and New York and elsewhere. Who do you think Kash Patel should arrest first? Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 1-888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh, hold on. We'll try. Okay, we'll try this call. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, Brian, this is Richie.
Yeah, Richie.
I first of all, judges can be impeached, so that's irrelevant. Any decision a judge makes, he cannot go to jail for, whether he has conflict of interest or not.
No, there can be excuse me, by arrest is a bit of a figurative term. That doesn't mean they can't be investigated by the feds. If you're a corrupt judge who's taking bribes, you can be investigated by the FBI, and that leads to charges.
That's against the law to take bribes, but decisions you cannot prosecute decisions.
Yeah, but we have judges that are taking large sums of money from the very agencies that their ruling can't be shut down or cut off. So if that's not a bribe, I don't know what is.
Yeah, I agree with you, but it's got to be proved. It's awful tough to prove unless they catch him like.
Well, there's a process, Richie. There's a process. If you make a ruling, if you're a judge, I'll let you ask this one. If you're a judge and you make a ruling ordering the President of the United States not to investigate an organization, and then you find out you're getting hundreds of thousands of dollars from that very organization to your NGO, that looks like a crime to me.
Well,
follow the money.
This to you, okay? There are probably 500 corrupt federal judges.
Yeah, but these judges are making rulings that are stopping Trump and Elon.
I can't stand it. I think it's disgusting. I mean, it's destroying this country. We voted for President Trump. They should let him do.
All right. So what you want to ask me that has nothing to do with what I'm talking about?
Yesterday you said I'd be back in 30 seconds. All of a sudden you were gone. I said, what happened to Brian?
On
the radio.
Well, what do you think happened?
I don't know.
You haven't thought about it?
I really don't know. I tried to get you on the radio, and you weren't on the radio. They had oldies on, and I said, "What happened?" And your mic was there. What happened?
We had a technical issue. That's all. It was nothing.
Oh, okay.
Nothing. My phone was blowing up with text messages and DMs and emails, and I do appreciate that, guys, because when I came back on the air, I taught listen. Every radio station on the dial has problems where they go off the air or there's a problem with the studio. Yeah. You guys notice it with us more than the other stations because you listen to the whole show. You listen for hours at a time and you hear those glitches. They happen on every radio station. Just usually what you'll do is you'll just don't care and you'll just turn the dial or not even notice because you don't care. But when that happens and you guys call me or text me or DM me, I do appreciate that because, there's nothing worse than if something like that happened and nobody noticed.
You also asked PC. What did PC mean when President Trump wanted PC is percentage. 50% of.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Is that what they use in England? PC. I've never seen that used before.
Percentage.
Yeah. Yeah, we want our money back.
So we want our money back. But make no mistake, it's our own fault that we dumped all this money into this war from the very beginning.
Listen, this is what Trump. Listen, President Trump is so smart, right? So the only thing Zelensky and the henchmen of and those that control him, all they care about's the money. So he's holding the money over their head. He's going to let them keep all the money they've been stealing from the taxpayer in exchange for giving him some other things, like signing the peace treaty with Putin and giving us some rights on rebuilding and some of the mineral things. He's going to let them keep their stolen money, but he's holding it over their head with the threat that he's going to take it back if they don't agree to a peace deal.
Right. What I would like to see is how much is he worth at the end of all this.
Well, it's hidden. It's hidden all over the place. We'll never know. Hey, Richie, I got to run. I appreciate the call. Zelensky's money is so well hidden. We may never know. What he's got. We may never know. If you're on hold, hang in there. My name's Brian Craig. It is Tuesday. We'll take our first break of the week and be right back. Or the day and be right back. Not the week. The day. Yeah, if we do it on the phone, there won't be a delay. Okay, so I've got 6:15 and 50 right now.
Yeah, I'm at 13, 14, 15, so it's like 40 seconds behind each other.
So if you give me a time, in relation to that time, when should I come on?
For me, it says 6:16:56, but with the rejoiner at 19 seconds, so like 6:17, like 10, 15.
Well, what time are we coming back in this break, as an example?
Well, so the rejoiner starts at 6:16, but we have to have 19 seconds for the rejoiner to like finish, like the talking on it to finish.
So what time would you text me that we're coming back?
6:17:15.
Okay, so what time should I start talking?
With your time?
Yeah.
Because you said you're like 40 seconds ahead, right?
Yeah.
Sorry.
I should do it earlier than you give me. Okay, well, okay, what time are we coming back now?
6:17, 15.
Well, it's time now. I'll come back now. Okay, we'll figure it out.
We're about to come. Give me like 40. Give me 40 seconds from here on.
Okay, 40. Come back 40 seconds early or 40 seconds late?
Later.
I'll come whatever time you tell me. I come back 40 seconds after that. Is what you mean? Okay, we'll try it. Okay. 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 Bye. Okay, we're coordinating. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. On the radio since 1977. Call us on hold. Stand by. I want to tell you guys, will be making a personal appearance a week from today with attorney Barry Siegel. And this is the only scheduled appearance I have for the entire year, okay? And I hope you all come out. Barry Siegel, he's having one of his Revocable Living Trust workshops. It's a week from today at 10 a.m. That's the 25th. Okay, the 25th, which is next Tuesday, at the Spanish River Library at 10 a.m. And you are all invited, 10 a.m. at the Spanish River Library, and that's Tuesday the 25th. And if you want to get all the details of that and call ahead, which I would appreciate you doing, call the Siegel Law Group, let them know you're coming so they know how big of a room they need and how many chairs they need. And also, they'll give you the directions. And you can reach the Siegel Law Group at 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. I look forward to seeing you all there. All right, let's go to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Lake Worth, Florida.
Hey, what's up, Lake Worth?
Yeah. Hey, how you doing? I just I have a question, not really in regards to everything that you've been going over.
Open phones is Friday, but ask away. We'll see.
I'm sorry.
I said open phones is on Friday, but ask your question. I'll see if it's since you're on. What's your question? What's it about?
If the United States has national debt owed to China, and we can prove that they are responsible for the COVID,
that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. President Trump, President Trump, no, and the reason is, President Trump talked about this in one of his press conferences in his first term. He referenced it, and he said, if I told you the truth, it would be the end of everything. And what he meant was, if something like that were proved, it wouldn't be just get some money back. The world would go to World War III at a level we've never been to before. So no, nothing like that. Trump and those in power are never going to let that happen, because it would be the third World War, and that's it.
That would be bad. Yes, sir. All right. Thank you very much. You have a great day.
All right. Take care. Yeah. All right. Does that make sense? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Oh, hey, Mike.
You asked the question, who do they go after first? I think they got to go after these judges.
Well, which ones? Like Judge Mershon in New York, or these new? Well, if you could only go after one, you can't go after everybody at once. Who should Kash Patel arrest first?
Well, yeah. I mean, look, Engoron, Kaplan, and Mershon up there in New York need to be gone after. But also these two guys who have been doing these these orders, these temporary restraining orders against his policies and such. They're due to their corruption. It's like they're trying to have the definition for the insurrection against them, because that's what they're doing with these judges.
Well, what it looks like, you're right. I agree with what you said, Mike. What they're doing is really trying to protect their own money. Okay, this is in Trending Politics. Rogue judge blocking Trump agenda has chilling link to USAID. Listen to this. This is this morning at trendingpolitics.com, which is a very good conservative news website. Trendingpolitics.com. It's not my first stop in the morning, but it's my second. The first place I go to for news every day is thegatewaypundit.com. Then I go to trendingpolitics.com second. This is trendingpolitics.com. Calls are growing for a federal judge who blocked part of President Trump's agenda to rescind his ruling after his spouse was found to have personally benefited from some of the programs the president has been trying to shutter. News of the curious connection came out last week after U.S. District Judge John Bates paused President Trump's scrubbing of government-run websites promoting gender ideology, an overhaul that comes as part of his effort to dismantle USAID. The executive order targeting gender ideology extremism was in the crosshairs of Bates, who wrote that the government would be unable to provide a remedy to affected individuals during an appointment time to a patient who cannot return in the future. Bates's ruling is among more than a dozen that have stymied Trump's early efforts to scuttle large swaths of the federal bureaucracy. The decisions have sparked calls by Republicans to limit the power of these federal district judges. At the same time, the connections of judges like Bates to the agencies under review are being investigated. One outlet discovered that Judge Bates's wife, Carol Rees, notice, again, I was telling you guys this the other day, I always wondered why these spouses had different last names in Washington. Now we know. It doesn't make their corruption stand out so much if they have different last names. The Judge Bates's wife, Carol Rees, is founder of the nonprofit that receives direct funds from USAID to deliver relief efforts to children in Ethiopia. The organization, Hope for Children in Ethiopia, received hundreds of thousands of dollars in federal grants, according to the Western Journal. Now, how much of that do you think actually made it to the children of Ethiopia? And is that still a thing, right? I mean, I know it was a big thing. We had USA for Africa, We Are the World. Is that still a thing, or is that just a cover? Is Ethiopia okay now? I don't see hungry children from Ethiopia on TV all the time, like I did back in the when was We Are the World? 86? Elon Musk, who was heading up President Trump's cost-saving efforts at DOGE, quickly noticed and elevated the news report. And Elon posted the article. No kidding, yet another corrupt judge, Elon wrote on X. By Monday, Musk's post had garnered over 61,000 reposts, making it one of the largest discussion points on the platform X, which is the largest news platform in the world and that the world has ever known. So the corrupt Judge Bates, that's not the judge from Rhode Island that I was talking about with the NGO. This is the other judge, has USAID money. Judge Bates is not the only arbiter who has provoked MAGA wrath after an anti-Trump ruling. Last week, conservative activist and friend of Brian Craig, no, it doesn't say that in the article, but I wish it did. Give me a little plug. Laura Loomer accused U.S. District Judge John McConnell of a conflict of interest. Now, this is the judge that was rumored to have bought his federal judgeship, okay, and has the NGO. Given that his adult daughter works at the U.S. Department of Education, which they're shutting down. So Loomer, this other judge has McConnell has an NGO that he gets money from, and his daughter works at the Education Department. And Loomer uncovered the Education Department connection. The case should have prompted McConnell to recuse himself over the conflict of interest, Loomer argued. On May 3rd, 2024, Judge John Jack McConnell tagged himself at the White House during the Biden administration, where his daughter, who was appointed by Joe Biden to the Department of Education, spoke to Joe Biden's Commission on Advancing Educational Equality, Excellence, and Economic Opportunity for Hispanics, Laura Loomer wrote. McConnell wrote in his latest order, the broad, categorical, and sweeping freeze of federal funds is, as the court found, likely unconstitutional and is caused and continues to cause irreparable harm to a vast portion of the country, namely his NGO and his daughter, I guess. So, I mean, why are these, and listen to this. Now, that same judge whose daughter works at the Education Department, okay, he's received over $100 million in government funding for his NGO. Now, this is the judge that was suspected by Politico in 2010 of possibly buying his judgeship from Obama, and daughter works for the Education Department. Judge McConnell's organization has received $117.6 million in government funding in total, ending in 2023. Now, we don't know if they're still getting money or not on this article, or if the last reporting year is 2023, since we're at the beginning of 25. They haven't gotten 24 in yet. Maybe that's why he wanted the money to keep flowing, they write in the Gateway Pundit. He's expecting several more $1 million this year, they're reporting. So he's still got NGO money coming from the government that he feels owed to him. The Gateway Pundit reported that this radical far-left judge called President Trump a tyrant and said racism's a white people problem. So he's received over $100 million. In a bombshell revelation, America First Legal has uncovered damning evidence that federal judge Jack McConnell, the Rhode Island judge who halted President Trump's temporary spending freeze, has been deeply entrenched in a taxpayer-funded nonprofit, receiving over $128 million in government funding during his tenure, and millions more expected this year. I mean, this is nuts. So when I ask you, who should Kash Patel arrest first? Should it be this guy? I mean, this judge, is this textbook corruption? Is this at the level of a that you would consider a judge who took a bribe? Is it a similar thing? I've never seen corruption so open at this level. Have you? And it's really an act of desperation. They're so panicked over this money that they've become so accustomed to, probably to live in the lifestyle in which they become accustomed, right? You know that old phrase, that they're in a panic over their money. All right, we're going to take our break for the bottom of the hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Welcome back, one and all. Callers on hold, stand by. In just a few minutes, I'm going to get into what's going on with the mayor of New York, which is insane. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Montana Mark.
Oh, hey, Mark.
From the things I see happening, I think they should go after the new judges trying to stop Elon Musk.
They're the more immediate problem. Yeah, I agree with you. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that call. Yeah, if you're on hold, hang in there because I want to get into this. What they're doing in New York, they're trying to get rid of Mayor Adams because he cooperated with their enemy, which is the President of the United States, President Donald John Trump, okay, over the illegals. And, you know, all this government corruption, the money that's been cut off to New York City by President Trump, including that FEMA money that the Trump administration took back, that 59 million that was illegally sent last week, that's their money that they want. Okay, and these people in the Democrat Party and in the staff that are getting all this corrupt money, their entire lives of not just themselves but their extended families are based around getting all this corrupt money. This is in the Post-Millennial. New York City Comptroller demands Mayor Eric Adams submit contingency plan to run the city or face removal. Well, who's this comptroller who can remove a mayor of the city of New York? And, you know, I'll tell you another thing, too. I was talking in the last segment about the corrupt judges. For them to have judges making these rulings that have these dirty connections to the USAID and money and all this stuff, it shows desperation and panic, anxiety, but it also shows that their numbers are not as big as you want to think. They didn't have any of these federal judges who were not getting money that would make those rulings. They had to find 2 judges that are getting that money to make the rulings, right? Now, what's going on in New York with them trying to force Adams out, this is a big deal because these are liberal Democrat lunatics. They're desperate over their money being cut off that they're actually looking to remove from office a liberal black man. And that's something that liberals would never normally consider, but they're blinded by race for the first time because Mayor Adams, they're blaming him for losing their money, and they're also sending a message to other Democrats: don't work with the Trump administration, or you'll be out of office and maybe in prison too. They're trying to make an example out of him so that the Democrats can get a reign of terror against Democrats cooperating with Trump going on. New York City Comptroller Brad Lander has demanded that Mayor Eric Adams submit a contingency plan to run the city or face removal amid several high-profile resignations from the mayor's office. They had these 4 deputy mayors resign, who, by the way, I was watching the local news early this morning from New York City. They reported, now I don't know, but they reported in the local news in New York City that those deputy mayors are still in office, that they're staying in office until the replacements are found. Okay, so, you know, how many deputy mayors do they have in New York? In a letter addressed to the mayor, the comptroller wrote, "Today my office received news that 4 of the city's deputy mayors, including first deputy mayor, whatever her name is, Maria Torres-Springer, have submitted their resignations, and the others have communicated their intent to resign. These departures would create an unprecedented leadership vacuum at the highest levels of city government and wreak havoc on the city's ability to deliver essential services to New Yorkers." Really? Police can't respond, and fire can't respond, paramedics can't respond, the hospital emergency rooms can't help people? I don't think so. These resignations come in the wake of deeply concerning actions by the U.S. Justice Department asking the U.S. District Court to drop indictments against you. This is the comptroller, the money guy, writing to Adams. So long as you comply with the White House on matters of immigration and criminal justice policy, which called to question your ability to continue to comply with your duties to New Yorkers under the city charter. So because, when it comes to immigration, if you remember, during Biden's reign of incompetence, when Invasion USA was taking place at the southern border, the governor of Texas was getting involved in stopping people from crossing, remember? And they said, the Biden regime and the Democrats and the liberal media said that governors can't get involved in immigration. That's a federal issue. They have to do whatever the feds want. But now all of a sudden, it's a municipal issue. Lander then asked Mayor Adams to submit a detailed contingency plan on how he'll be able to manage the city as there's a leadership transition, and then added, should your office be unwilling or unable to formulate such a plan promptly, I will seek to convene a meeting of the Inability Committee. So they're moving to remove him from office. Adams was under investigation by the Biden corrupt Justice Department, which of course was lawfare. And all. Now, this is in the Huffington Post. I haven't gone to the Huffington Post in years. And I went there because President Trump was making fun of them the other day. And they have an article this morning about this. This is in the Huff Post. Governor Hochul weighs removing New York City Mayor Adams after his top deputies quit amid criminal case turmoil. What? They've dropped? There's no turmoil. There's no case now. It's been dropped. Right? There's no charges. He's facing no charges, no trial, no crime, no jail. Associated Press is reporting this. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said Monday she's weighing removing New York City Mayor Adams. Do you know what you have to do to be a liberal black man to be removed by a liberal Democrat white governor? Oh, my goodness. You have to really tick off the Democrat machine. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said Monday she's weighing removing New York City Mayor Eric Adams from office after 4 of his top deputies announced their resignations in the latest fallout from the Justice Department's push to end his corruption case. So this is what Hochul and this idiot comptroller were saying. You can't effectively govern because you don't have charges from the federal government against you. But when he had charges, he could effectively be mayor? How could he govern with charges against him, but not without? It's because they were using the charges over him during the Biden regime to keep control of him or attempt to get control of him. That's why. It makes no sense. If he was facing federal indictments and arrest and prison and a major federal court case through justice charges, I could say, hey, you can't be mayor. How can you run the city when you're facing, 20 years? But there's no court case now. It's gone. So how can they say he cannot effectively govern with no charges again? It doesn't even make sense. They just hate him. Hochul, a Democrat, said she'll convene a meeting of key leaders today in Manhattan, that's today, Tuesday, for a conversation about the path forward. She said the departures of First Deputy Mayor Marie Torres Springer and other top officials raised serious questions about the long-term future of the Adams administration. These people are in a panic, man. And this is a beautiful thing. And, if I was an advisor to Mayor Adams, my advice would be simple. Do what you know is right, which is cooperate with the President of the United States, with the Trump administration. They're in charge now. Don't worry. And if they don't, when I was watching the local news, it was very interesting because in the local news, although they're partisan Democrat liberal hacks, the local news, you get more of a accurate analysis of what the situation is. If they remove him or he resigns, they're going to have a special election. And the local news in New York City was reporting that the Democrats do not want to have a special election for the mayor because it would be at the same time as the Democrat primary, and they don't think they would be able to get their hand-picked successor. They want to get some pro-immigrant, illegal immigrant that's going to fight Trump and do everything they can do to stop the deportations from the city. But if he resigns or they remove him, the special election going at the same time as the primary, they wouldn't be able to be guaranteed that they could get one of their conspirators as the new mayor. So what they're trying to do is intimidate him to cooperate with them, not the Trump administration. But those charges against him could come back in 5 seconds. If he starts going out, and some may call this lawfare, and but I don't think it's lawfare. But the charges could come back from the Justice Department. They have not been dismissed without prejudice or whatever that is. So he's in a rock and a hard place. But they're in a panic in New York because, like with these people in Washington, President Trump and DOGE have been cutting off their money, and that $59 million that was transmitted. That person from FEMA that did that, I'd like to know who she was and why she did it, wouldn't you? Even after the president's order, she sent the $59 million to New York City. I know they fired her. That's not enough. I would make her cooperating witness number one. Make a deal with her at the Justice Department and get her to talk. She transmitted that money for a very specific reason. By the way, I'd like to know what kind of car she drives and how big of a house that FEMA worker has, huh? All right, we're going to take our last break of the first hour. I want to remind you guys that 1 week from today, that is the 25th, join me with Attorney Barry Siegel at the Spanish River Library Tuesday at 10 a.m. in Boca. This is one of Attorney Barry Siegel's Revocable Living Trust workshop. I've been to many of his workshops years ago. I have not been to one of his workshops really in several years, and this is the only appearance I have scheduled for the rest of the year. So I'm inviting you all to join me, and I'll be there. As soon as I get off the air, I'm heading there. And I'm going to give you the number for Attorney Barry Siegel's office. When they're open, give them a call. They'll give you all the details as to where this is and everything. But if you could call, it's free, of course, to attend. But if you could call and let them know you're coming, it helps out a lot because they know how much space they need, how many chairs and all of that, okay? So give them a call. It is Attorney Barry Siegel's number is 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782. And you can go to the website and get the number there too, SiegelLawGroup.com. But come join me along with Attorney Barry Siegel 1 week from today, Tuesday the 25th, at the Spanish River Library in Boca. All right, we'll take our last break of the first hour and be right back. Excuse me, guys. I've got to do less talking today because my throat is rough. Okay, we'll be back on the air in less than 10 seconds. Stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I saw this article this morning involving Ukraine, and this is insane. This is in the Daily Telegraph out of England, okay? And here's the headline, Revealed. Trump's confidential plan to put Ukraine in a stranglehold. Panic in Kiev as U.S. president demands higher share of GDP than Germany's First World War reparations. Now, if this plan is truly confidential, would the Telegraph in the UK have it? Ask yourself that. Okay? Of course not. They wouldn't have it. If they have the Trump plan or proposal, it's because President Trump wants them to have it. All right? It's not confidential. They call it confidential to give more credibility, I guess, to themselves. Donald Trump's demand for $500 billion from Ukraine goes far beyond U.S. control over the country's critical minerals. This is in the Telegraph I'm reading from. It covers everything from ports and infrastructure to oil and gas and the larger resource base of the country. The terms of the contract that landed at Zelensky's office a week ago amount to the United States' economic colonization of Ukraine and legal perpetuity. It implies a burden of reparations that cannot possibly be achieved. The document has caused panic in Kiev. We don't have to call it Kyiv anymore, okay? The Democrats aren't running the country. It's Kiev. And there's more details, which I'll go through in a minute. Now, a couple things about this. Number one, these are not reparations. Notice how, these leftists are blaming the Holocaust and World War II on everything but the cause. Yesterday, it was free speech caused the Holocaust and World War II. Now, the reparation. Reparations on Germany after the First World War, regardless of whether or not they caused the second one or not, is not, we're not going to talk about that. But what we're asking for, what the president is asking for from Ukraine, and by the way, when I say the president, I mean President Donald John Trump, the 45th and 47th president of the United States, just to be clear. This is money that is ours that we want back. Okay? The European powers had not been sending trillions of dollars to the Weimar Republic of Germany and wanted their money back. They wanted them to pay for the loss of life and destruction that Germany caused when they started the war. These are not reparations. This is money owed to us, okay? And the thing about President Trump that, I was talking about this a couple weeks ago. I read again for the first time in many years, The Art of the Deal. And if I were to sum up The Art of the Deal in just a thought or two, and what makes it so fascinating is this. President Trump always asks in any deal, he's doing it in politics now, but he used to do it in business, whatever deal he's making, he always asks for a lot more than he wants so that he has room to make concessions. And even after the concessions are done, he's still getting more than he wanted. Okay? He always does that. And I guess these people, they hate him so much, they can't see it. I mean, you don't have to read The Art of the Deal to know this. You just watch him in the news and you see it. Okay, so back to the article. This is in the Telegraph in the UK. The Telegraph has obtained a draft of the pre-decisional contract marked privileged and confidential and dated February 7th, 2025. Now, again, if this were really top secret, the Telegraph wouldn't have it. President Trump's got, if this document exists, it's out there because the president wants it out there. It states that the United States and Ukraine should form a joint investment fund to ensure that hostile parties of the conflict do not benefit from the reconstruction of Ukraine. So President Trump wants American companies to have contracts in the rebuilding of Ukraine. He wants to make sure that Russian companies, it could happen, or countries of the NATO nations don't get the deal to rebuild Ukraine. And we've paid for this whole war. Poland and Germany and the French and the UK and all the NATO countries are going to want to come into Ukraine and make money rebuilding it. And President Trump wants American companies, not European companies, to get that. The agreement covers the economic value associated with resources of Ukraine, including mineral resources, oil and gas resources, ports, and other infrastructure as agreed, leaving it unclear what else it might encompass. The agreement shall be governed by New York law, it says. The U.S. will take 50% of recurring revenues received by Ukraine from extraction of resources and 50% of the financial value of all new licenses issued to third parties for the future monetization of resources. Now, of course, President Trump does not expect Ukraine to give him 50% of the money that they make. But he started with that high number, so when they make concessions, he'll still get more than he wants. I don't know what percentage he wants, but maybe it'll be 30 or 20. Whatever we end up getting will be more than he wants. In fact, he may not want any of that percentage. He may just be holding that over their head to get them to sign the peace treaty, okay? Washington will have, this is in the Daily Telegraph, Washington will have sovereign immunity and acquire near total control over most of Ukraine's commodity and resource economy. The fund shall have the exclusive rights to establish the method, criteria, terms, and conditions of all future licenses and projects in Ukraine. You know, and if you remember with the when the war in Iraq was over, I remember President Trump, I saw him on Cavuto, and this was before he was running for president. I've heard him talk about it since, but I saw him on Cavuto on Fox before he was running for president. And because he used to be on there all the time, you know, and he said that they made a bad deal in Iraq. They should be giving us for free oil until they paid us back the cost of liberating the country. And they didn't make a deal like that. And he said they were stupid. And now he's in a situation and he's making a deal. Zelensky proposed the idea of giving the United States a direct stake in Ukraine's rare earth elements and critical materials on a visit to Trump Tower in September, trying to smooth over things with Trump. He calculated it would lead to U.S. companies setting up operations on the ground in Ukraine, which would deter Putin from coming back in. If we have American businesses all over the country and American workers, he's not going to want to come in. And it goes on to a lot more details which are not important. But the reality of the situation is this. You're going to see a lot of negative reporting on this, especially like this in Europe, because Europe, who's upset that we're stopping World War III from happening, they want European companies want to go in there and profit off of Ukraine. And Biden gave China all the rights to Afghanistan after we rebuilt that country. And our geological survey we found they had all kinds of, the largest lithium deposits in the planet are in Afghanistan. Now China has them, and that's why they're pushing electric vehicles so much in China, because now Biden gave them the largest lithium, well, I don't know, gave them, probably sold them, the largest lithium deposits in the world. That was stupid. You know, before we rebuilt Afghanistan after 9/11, when we took it over, the number one export from Afghanistan was terrorism and heroin. Now they've got lithium and all kinds of other resources that we discovered and set up for them. It's insane. Now, I want to talk about Jupiter Joe Thomas. You know, Jupiter Joe Thomas, he's going to be on the show later this week. And, you know, I don't understand why everyone's not in annuities. You know, annuities, your money's never at risk, and you can earn revenue for the rest of your life in your retirement. It's a great deal. Why is everyone not in annuities? There's no risk, and you have a revenue stream coming in. That's pretty awesome, isn't it? It's pretty awesome to me. And Joe Thomas offers free phone consultations that you could take advantage of no matter where you are in America. And, you know, this free phone consultation that Jupiter Joe Thomas offers is very valuable because he's a top man in his field. For over 30 years, he's been a financial planner specializing in retirement planning, but he's also a 5-time qualifying member of the $1 Million Roundtable, which is achieved by fewer than 1% of all financial advisors in the world. Isn't that something? That's absolutely amazing. So he's a top guy in the business, and he's offering a free phone consultation to you. I'm going to give his number to you in just a moment. And when you have this consultation, he'll ask you a few questions, and he'll put together a personalized proposal just for you, for your situation, your goals, and everything else. A custom proposal just for you. It's not cookie cutter. His number is 561-743-0999. 561-743-0999. That's 561-743-0999. And if you missed the number, just go to his website, jupiterjoe.com. jupiterjoe.com, and you can get his number right there. Okay, so after the top of the hour, I'm going to switch gears and do a couple of things. But you're welcome to call in about anything I brought up so far. So much has happened, including some major updates on stories that I brought yesterday. You know, I went through that Social Security breakdown yesterday. There's people over 200 years old, right, on the Social Security benefits list. And this morning, if you've seen the news, the interim head of the Social Security Administration has resigned. So why did she resign? You know, there's a lot of resignations going on. And the reason they're resigning is they figure if they resign, they're quitting on their own terms, so far as their benefits go, right? Because of the investigation and they're involved in hanky-panky, you know, they get fired, it's a different situation. And to avoid the hassle of internal investigations that are going to be coming, because there's all kinds of crooked business going on. And they released a story that, yeah, there's I don't know, was it 10 million or so? maybe a little north, a little south, but around 10 million over the age of 120 on the list. Oh, they're not getting benefits. We just don't have them listed as dead. Now all of a sudden they know everything? Listen, whether or not those people, the 10 million over 120, are receiving benefits or not, those Social Security numbers and their status is active for a reason. Whether it's stealing the Social Security payments or they're using it for something else, I don't know. For all I know, the CIA's running black ops doing this. I don't know. There's something going on. In this age of computers, we don't have 10 million people, some over 300 years old, on the Social Security benefits list for no reason. And the head of the Social Security Administration didn't quit yesterday and retire out of the federal government because there's nothing there. Something is going on. All right. My name is Brian. It's the Steve Kane Show. We're going to break for the top of the hour and be right back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay, 7 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show. Hour number 2 has begun. If you're on hold, stand by. I watched The Five yesterday, which I don't often do, and I was really disappointed in it. You know, I'll throw this out. You know, maybe this is petty. I don't know, but I'm going to throw this out. They were talking about a lot of the things I talked about yesterday morning, almost 12 hours later, including this story with Margaret Brennan. And I want to share with you what I mean about this. This is the Margaret Brennan, who's the woman from CBS's Face the Nation with Marco Rubio. I did play this yesterday. Let me play it, and I'll just do a little capsulized version of what I talked about yesterday, and then explain why the Five aggravated me yesterday with their discussion. Here we go. This is Margaret Brennan Face the Nation with Marco Rubio on Sunday.
Well, he was standing in a country where free speech was weaponized to conduct a genocide. And he met with the head of a political party that has far-right views and some historic ties to extreme groups. The context of that was changing the tone of it. And you know that the censorship
I have to disagree with
was
you.
specifically about the right.
No, I have to disagree with you. Free speech was not used to conduct a genocide. The genocide was conducted by an authoritarian Nazi regime that happened to also be genocidal because they hated Jews and they hated minorities and they hated those that they had a list of people they hated, but primarily the Jews. There was no free speech in Nazi Germany. There was none. There was also no opposition in Nazi Germany. They were...
Okay, yeah, that's right. That's why they burned down the Reichstag and all that. Okay, so yesterday, just to give you a capsulized review, what I talked about yesterday for this, if you missed it. So on Sunday, Margaret Brennan, who's a real twisted person, I mean, she's a mental patient to say something like this. She's blaming the Holocaust on the fact that she believes there was too much free speech in pre-Nazi Germany. Too much free speech in Nazi, and I guess that continued to Nazi Germany. Free speech allowed the Holocaust to happen. Not anti-Semitism, not the hatred of Jews that's part of the DNA of Europe and of Germany. And Margaret Brennan is a white American girl. She's as white gets, like me, right? When she went to college, she majored in Middle Eastern studies and learned to speak Arabic. And she met her husband in college, who she married years later, who's a Syrian-American Muslim man. And the reason that's relevant is because Muslims hate Jews, right? Do we all agree? Muslims hate Jews. So does Candace Owens, by the way, if you want, and others. But Muslims hate Jews. And and Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation has a Middle Eastern Muslim viewpoint as to what caused the Holocaust. It wasn't the hatred of Jews, it was too much free speech. Because in her world, everybody hates Jews because she lives in a Muslim world. Okay, so everybody hates Jews. So that's not what caused the Holocaust, because she thinks it's justified to hate Jews. Don't you understand? Margaret Brennan believes anti-Semitism is just. So her reason for the 6 million murdered, okay, was there's too much free speech. We can't have free speech. Notice they don't have free speech in the Muslim world, by the way. And I'm watching The Five yesterday, and they're talking about this. And it was Jesse, Perino, Gutfeld, Judge Janine, and Jessica Tarloff, that liberal idiot who went to the London School of Economics, which probably means she's CIA, right? They all look tired to me, like they had a big lunch and a couple martinis, like, you know, how Bob Beckel was. And what you have on The Five is you have people that, you know, two of them have really good shows. Greg Gutfeld's show at night is awesome. So his days are spent prepping for that show. Jesse Waters' primetime show is spectacular. I'd watch his primetime show once or twice a week, and he's very good on that primetime show. All of his effort goes into that. Dana Perino, who I don't like, she's a never Trumper in with the Bushies, but she's got a show in the daytime on Fox. So by the time The Five comes on, she's tired. Jessica Tarloff's just a liberal idiot, and Judge Janine, you know, she's just phoning it in. And it used to be just Gutfeld that did this, but now I've seen other people on The Five panel do it. Everything they say is scripted, and they're reading, and sometimes you can even see the notes. You see their eyes looking down at the paper all the time. It's usually handwritten, at least in Gutfeld's case, and big letters too on Gutfeld's. They're reading, they're so lazy on that show. They are literally phoning it in, and I know it's highly rated and everything, but they're so lazy on that show. Now then they talk about this story that I'm sharing. And Gutfeld started, and he says, well, you know, her to say that just shows how the media don't look into things, and they're lazy, and they don't work hard, and meanwhile, they're all phoning it in, half asleep, reading off of a handwritten paper what he's saying. I saw his eyes look down. None of them touched on what I shared, that she went Muslim in college, she speaks Arabic, she's married to a Syrian-American Muslim man. I'm sure her kids are Muslim. Because and in Judaism, your mother has to be a Jew for you to be a Jew. In Islam, it's the father. I'm sure her kids are Muslim. She has a Muslim perspective on this. So the whole thing is, she thinks anti-Semitism is okay. She thinks that Jews have brought anti-Semitism on themselves. In fact, this talk of free speech is what caused the Holocaust, is anti-Semitic in itself on a deeper level. I don't want to get too cerebral on the whole thing, but none of them mentioned any of that. They're all presses. And I had this yesterday, and then during the day yesterday, this story went kind of viral online. Everybody was talking about it on the internet. So they were just talking about things that were trending online, so they looked relevant without any deep discussion of it. And what she gave us really is kind of how they think in Gaza about Israel. And this is why when you're dealing with the Palestinians, you're dealing with Iran, with the Israeli peace process, you can't deal with them because they think anti-Semitism is okay and the Jews have brought it upon themselves. Just look at Margaret Brennan. The Holocaust had nothing to do with the anti-Semitism that was inside Germans at the time. It has to do with there was too much free speech. Nothing to do with hatred of Jews. There's too much free speech led to the Holocaust. I mean, what a sicko. What a sicko. So I'd like to hear your thoughts on all of that, including your thoughts on the 5. Do they seem a little lazy, like they're just phoning it in? I don't watch it that much. Once or twice a week, I'll tune over, just seeing what there is going on. Yesterday, I was recording my podcast, and I said, let me see what they're doing on the 5 while I was setting up, just to see if I missed any stories before I did my podcast. And, of course, I didn't miss anything. They were talking about things I talked about 10, 12 hours before. All right, our number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. We'll take a couple calls here, then we'll break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Conservative Doug.
Oh, hey, Doug.
First thing I'd like to say is I certainly think that Kash Patel should go after the judges that are trying to stop President Trump's orders.
Yeah.
The first thing, I think, if he sends some agents out there to knock on their door and say, look, if you recuse yourself, that'll be the end of this, and you continue your happy life. Otherwise, it's not going to be very pleasant. And I think if these guys are smart, they'll just recuse themselves and end this nonsense of stopping an executive order.
Well, you look at, both of these judges trying to stop DOGE are getting big money from the government. Millions in the case of the one judge. The other one's wife, all this stuff. And then you go back to that Judge Mershon in New York, and his daughter raised over $100 million from the company that she's a partner in from Democrats on the promise of putting Trump in prison. These are hardcore financial crimes. These crimes that are being committed by these judges, these are corrupt judges. This goes beyond what you would impeach a judge for. This is hardcore financial crimes. And if we have judges, by the way, thanks for the call, Doug. If we have judges that are taking bribes, justice has to come in. They have to be arrested, and it has to be high profile. Put cuffs on them in their own courtroom, because this lawfare is getting out of control, and the left are getting emboldened because now they're even carrying it when he's the president. And they don't have the Justice Department behind them anymore. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning, Brian. This is Bill from Sanford.
Oh, hey, Bill. How you doing?
I watched the 5 a lot, and I got to sort of disagree with you. I remember years ago, and it could be even last year, all the members get a segment.
Yes.
And in advance. So I call it preparation. I disagree with you. It's preparation. Greg writes down all his stuff by hand.
I don't have any notes, okay? And I never have. And I'll tell you, a lot of people do. Like, Glenn Beck, okay? They have writers that write out everything he says. And I remember once he had his buddy filling in for him, Phil. I listened to 30 minutes of that show. I thought it was Glenn Beck because their voices are similar. He said the same thing. There was a thing years ago, when there was a guy on the radio. Anybody remember Dr. Jim Nadal? Dr. Jim Nadal. He did a nighttime radio show that was a talk show, okay? And he wrote everything he said on the air. A 3-hour show. He wrote it. It was once a week. So he wrote his whole show out. And one day, I was like 21 at the time. And this is when I did overnights. I had to go live from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. Sunday morning. Saturday night, Sunday mornings. I was on the air for 4 hours from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., right? And I used to go out partying then. And I came to work. I was just left the bars, probably 2 in the morning. And I didn't do any show prep. And I looked in the garbage can. He had his whole show there. So I took it out of the garbage can and told the story about what he does. And I read his whole show. Okay? That's not hosting a television show, talk show. That's not hosting a radio show. That's a book on tape. Okay? And when I see Greg Gutfeld, put it in the teleprompter at least. When I see him looking down nonstop while he's talking and sometimes see the notes in big print, it's ridiculous. At that level?
Well, I still, you're very good, by the way.
Thank you,
There's
thank you.
no question. You have
Thank you.
no notes, I can tell that. All right? And you do 3 hours all by yourself. They're doing an hour.
With Steve Jones. And they got there's 5 of them.
But they're also networked. So the network may have something to do with the fact that they want these people to be prepared before they go on the air.
They're not prepared. Why don't they have it in the teleprompter then? So it doesn't look like they're reading. And I used to notice this. Now, I like Greg Gutfeld and Jesse Waters and Judge Janine.
Absolutely.
Okay. Don't take this any other way. They're very good. But their shows are very good. I miss Judge Janine's weekend show. But on the 5, they all look like they're hungover from a martini lunch. And it used to be just Greg.
I disagree with that, but
that's
your opinion.
It's my opinion. Well, you know what they say about opinions, though, right? It used to be just Gutfeld who was looking down. Now they're all doing it.
Well, I know that Gutfeld is not printed out.
It's handwritten.
It's handwritten.
Yeah, it's handwritten.
Yeah, and I don't see Jesse looking down, but maybe you.
I've seen Janine. I've seen
him looking
Janine,
down.
Dana, and Gutfeld. I've not seen. I've not seen Jesse.
You're looking at it as a professional, and I'm looking at it as just an audience member. And you're probably right.
Listen, this is
but
petty.
That doesn't mean it's a bad show.
No, but I don't like the script, and
rated.
I don't watch his nighttime show because I got to be up early in the morning. And I've seen clips of it. It's very good. But I did watch it when he had President Trump on. He went on, like, the first segment, President Trump's sitting there, like the whole first segment, I don't know if it was 15 minutes, he did this huge monologue that he was reading off the teleprompter of, like, one-liners and stuff. Then he goes to the president. It was like 10, 15, I couldn't believe. And I'm of the opinion that when you're at a certain level, which includes the level I'm at, which is lower than the 5 because they're the number 1 show on cable TV, but when you get to a certain level of professionalism, I think you're expected to be able to do something like they're doing or I'm doing without reading a script, or at least have a teleprompter and people can't tell. So it seems natural. I think it's lazy.
Well, I don't see that, and I'll have to yield to you because you are the professional.
Steve and I used to be on a radio station, 940 Wins, and this is the one where we had the program director who I believe may have been the first man in Florida to discover online porn, because it was during the days of dial-up, and his office door was always closed, and if you went in there, he was like watching porn, and on dial-up. I'm not kidding. And there was this one guy who I'm not going to say his name because he's a national person. He's on a national platform now, and he's a nice guy. Okay, and I'm not going to bring him up. Maybe I will later, but he's a nice guy, and I always got along good with him, and he's a nationally known person. he had to stay. He was doing an air shift, and the follow-up, the person relieving him didn't show up, so he had to continue. And he said he goes on the air. He was in a panic because he had to do an hour that he wasn't prepared for. He went on the air and he said, "I'm not prepared for any opinions this hour." Well, what do you mean prepared for opinions? Yeah, I mean, this is a national person that I'm telling you about right now, who I always got along with. So that's why I'm not saying their name right now. And a lot of you would know who this person was if I said that. And I said, now, how can you be at that level? You're on the air and you have to prepare to have an opinion. Don't you just have them?
Well, I really have to compliment you again, because if I compare you to the five, you are way, way, way above that.
Well, I appreciate it.
And no notes. I don't see you looking down at all for 3 hours.
The only notes I have is I have a copybook that has the phone numbers of when you hear me do live commercials, and I want to make sure I give out the right number. So I just have, that's all I have is a list of phone numbers for our sponsors. That's all I have. Everything else, now my show prep is on, I do tweet it, and I go through my Twitter feed to remind me of stories, but I don't have any notes here of a monologue I'm going to give. I just talk off the top of my head, and that's why sometimes I'm wrong or maybe misspeak, because I'm just talking off the top of my head. I just don't think at that level. I think the five is lazy. I think they're all lazy on that show.
Well, I disagree, but
all right.
All right. There's no problem with that.
Okay. All right. Take care.
Day,
all right.
Brian.
You too. It's okay to disagree. Okay. We'll take our first break of the second hour. Call us on hold. Stand by. Our number's toll free. 888-465-2631. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. Back after this. All right. There's I'm coordinating with Mike, the board op. There's a delay between me and the radio station, and it's usually like 4 seconds. And for some reason today, it's 40 seconds. So we're having a difficult time coordinating when I come back from break and when I end the hour. So I'm 40 seconds ahead of what he's getting. And it's usually just 4 seconds. So we're not coordinated. We've never had this issue before, but who knows? Plus the delay when you're listening on the radio, for the dump button and everything. It's crazy. Delays are necessary when you got liberals calling. Now, if you'd like to call in, the number is toll free, and it's pinned in the live chat. 1-888-465-2631. And if you're new, please subscribe. This is most definitely where MAGA comes to talk. And if you're already subscribed, please like the video. Those likes help grow the channel a lot. So please like the video. If you don't mind, I'd appreciate it. I'll take some more calls. I took that break late, so it's going to be a short segment. waiting for Mike to tell me what time we're coming back, because he's going to tell me what time we're coming back 10 seconds before we do. And maybe that'll work. And then Thursday and Friday, I will be at the radio station because I got to be there Thursday and Friday for production work. Okay, here we go. 20 seconds. Okay, 53. You gave me the 20-second mark. So here we go. We're going to try. Hopefully this will work this time. We'll get it coordinated. I don't mind. I'm very laid back. I don't care about all these little technical things. I think it just shows that we're live. All right, stand by. 3 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. I went very long in that last segment, so this is going to be a very short segment so we can be on time for the rest of the show. I'm giving you my apologies in advance. I just went too long in the first. Sometimes that happens. I shouldn't have taken that last call, which is usually the story. Whenever I have the urge not, I should wait till after the break to take that call, or maybe it's the end of the show. Maybe it's always my original thought is the right one. Don't take it now. I did, so we're behind. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Once. Twice. All right. You just made it. You just made it. What's on your mind?
Oh, what's on my mind? Okay, so
stand by, Mike.
I think Donald Trump running the country smoothly. He's rough around the edges. He's doing exactly what we need to be doing to secure the border.
Yes.
Down there in Cochise County in Arizona, the sheriff is having trouble with the definition of what securing the border means. I mean, all you have to do is go to Black's Law Dictionary to understand what securing the border means.
He understands. Yesterday,
I used to roll with Edward Johnston back in the day. What?
Okay, yesterday, Tom Homan, I saw him on TV. He said, Tom Homan, the border czar, he said yesterday they had just over 200 border crossings. I can't remember the exact number. He gave the exact numbers, like 203, 211. You know, we had just over 200 border crossings. He said that is the lowest number he's ever seen in his entire career. And he said during the Biden administration, the average was over 11,000 a day. So over 11,000 a day to just over 200 in a day. Biden was running around acting like he couldn't secure the border. It was out of his control.
Oh, it was well within his control, but I don't think Biden was running the country. I think he was just the showman.
No, he was
running the country.
Other than Trump, the other presidents never run the country. They're all spokesmodels for whoever is in control of them. Biden's no different than George W. Bush. They all have handlers.
And here's what gets me: the Democrats. Why don't they understand that we're only allowed to let 5,000 into our country and go through the naturalization process.
Well, I don't know what the numbers. I don't know what the numbers are, but the reason the Democrats. Why do you think the Democrats want to have an open border? It's obvious.
So they can line their pockets with money.
That's part of it, and that's part of it. But the Democrats have come to some idea in their mind that the reason that this happened after Trump's election the first time, the reason that they don't have control anymore is because there's too many white people. So they're trying to make the country less white. And they figure if it's less white, they'll be able to stay in power. And they're bringing in a peasant class that is completely dependent upon them for their housing, their rent, everything. So they're 100% dependent on the Democrats, and if they can get enough of them here, they'll be in power forever. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. You made some good points. All right, now like I say, I took that last break at the quarter after, way late. This is a short segment. I do apologize for that, and I'm not supposed to be doing that. And believe me, I always get chewed out when I get this far behind. But I'm going to take this break on time so we can be on schedule for the rest of the show. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. My name's Brian Craig. We'll be back right after this. All right, welcome back, one and all. My name's Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show on the radio since 1977. Our number toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Now, I do want to mention, if we get back to the issues, yesterday, sadly, was the 4th anniversary of the passing of the late, great Rush Limbaugh. And, oh, man, you guys miss Rush these days? Could you imagine what Rush would be doing? Oh, my goodness, his analysis is so missed. And yesterday, I was appalled at some of the things liberals were saying about Rush Limbaugh yesterday. You know, who did Rush ever hurt? You know, I mean, my goodness. All he did was, talk, gave some great analysis, and he did have a lot of influence. But 4 years after his passing, he's still hated by these people. And, what I was talking about earlier with the 5, you didn't get that with Rush. You got some real great on-the-spot analysis on what was going on. And his loss from the industry and the narrative, like the political narrative of what is going on, is so missed. When they in his time slot, they put on that Clay Aikens and Buck Sexton guy on, and Clay Travis. I know what his real name is. Clay Aikens, the guy with the smelly feet from American Idol. It's just Clay Travis, when I've heard him talk about sports, he's good. I've heard him give analysis. I don't know much about sports, so I don't talk about sports. I don't know anything about sports. That's why I don't talk about it. I only talk about things that I understand and have knowledge of. And Clay Travis, when he's talking about sports, even controversies involving them, he's very good, very interesting, and I enjoy his commentary. When he's talking about politics and issues, it's like I'm listening to a teenager. And Buck Sexton, the co-host, he's not a host or a personality. He's a guest. He's a CIA analyst, which I don't like having a CIA guy from the deep state taking that over. But some people don't have the personality to host a show. They're a guest you bring in from time to time. A lot of people that are very good and famous fit that category. And that show is mediocre. Maybe even less than mediocre, and it has no influence. And it's really, he is so missed, Rush Limbaugh, and he was so good and so missed. And President Trump honored him with that medal when they all knew he was gone. And I know a lot of you. I listened to Rush's last show, and when he was on, I didn't listen to him every day because I don't like to listen to other shows because I don't like to be influenced on what I cover based on what other people are doing. And sometimes I found myself saying, oh, well, so-and-so, or, Savage already talked about that, so I'm not going to talk. You know what I mean? So I don't listen to other shows because of that. But Rush Limbaugh, there was a big secret that I've mentioned this since. I didn't talk about it while he was alive. But Rush used to listen to this show regularly. Steve was friends with Rush. They worked together in New York at ABC. And Rush listened to this program regularly, pretty regularly, and that's a fact. And I always knew that I always knew he was listening when I was on the air, and we didn't talk about it at the time because Rush's thing was I don't listen to other shows, but he did listen, and I was honored that he was, because we're on in his market. He lived in Palm Beach, and we were on in his market all those years. And sometimes some of you out in the audience would pick up on this, and I would hear from, sometimes I get calls on the air, and sometimes I'd get emails and DMs and stuff. You would say, Rush is talking about exactly what you guys were talking about this morning. And I remember one time, and I would always excuse it because I didn't want Rush to stop listening. I was honored that he was listening. There was one time that it was really obvious. Steve and I were talking about a topic you wouldn't hear us talk about too much, but we were talking about men doing household chores, and, mopping floors and doing stuff like that. And I don't know why we were talking about it, but we were. And I was talking about how I do household chores. And Steve's like, well, that's the woman's job. We're having this discussion. And that very day, on his show at noon, Rush opened with that same topic. And my emails were blowing up over that from people. Like, how, what are the odds? Of course he got, yeah. So I always thought that was pretty cool. But he is so missed. And, could you imagine what this last year would have been like during the campaign with Rush Limbaugh giving analysis? He's so missed. So 4 years ago yesterday, Rush Limbaugh passed away, and he is very missed. And these creep liberals on social media that have just been saying terrible things, oh my goodness, about him is disgusting. And, the one thing about Rush, though, that I wish he would have done that he didn't, is I wish they would have buried him here in Palm Beach. They buried him, where's he from originally? I forgot. But he's buried back where he's from originally. I forget where that is. You guys will know. I don't remember. And if he were here, buried here locally, I would go to that grave from time to time, wouldn't you? Absolutely. All right, let's take some calls. Our number 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on
Good morning, Brian. Chris.
Hey, Chris. What's up?
From Pompano. Oh, great. No, I'm surprised. I can't believe it's been 4 years already.
I know. I remember where I was. Do you remember where you were when you found out Rush died? I remember. I was, my wife and I went and had lunch, and we were at the beach in Boca. They got like this observation area. If you take Palmetto Park Road past William Youngerman's to the beach, they've got like this wooden area where there's benches, and my wife and I were there, and I started getting text messages from people that Rush had died. It was sad.
Wow, yeah, I know. He worked pretty much up to the last week, I think. I know, he still made it seem a little easy, but he made it be known that he was going through treatment and certain things, and some days are better than others. And, I think what it is when those last few days, right around the second or third to last broadcast, I had a feeling like, wow, this is really, this is for real. He doesn't have much time left. Like, wow. And so when it hit, I was like, wow, okay, well, no surprise there, but wow, what a brave guy.
Yeah, and the thing about Rush, he, great. It was the cigars that he used to promote. They got him,
Yeah, he. But I tell you, like you mentioned, if he was around today, I thought about that during the campaign. I think about a year or so ago, and I'm like, wow, wouldn't Rush really have a field day on this? Because you obviously how the Democrats were.
There's no one. Listen, obviously, obviously Rush was a unique upper level talent. Okay, I mean that's very true, but there's no one nationally that gives any commentary, anything like what And I like Bongino and some of these people, but the people that are on the air nationally doing conservative radio, they're almost like activists. They're not. Radio is an art form, and Rush Limbaugh was a master of it, right? And these guys they put in place of him, Buck Sexton and Clay Travis, they're it's awful. It's a disgrace.
I'm glad you mentioned that because I could count how many times I've listened to them since Rush is gone, and that's why I was like, wow, 4 years. Now, even when Rush was around, I may have caught him maybe twice a week. I didn't listen to him every day like you guys because of his hours. If I'm traveling to and from, I'm like, okay, let me turn on Rush. But, it wasn't every day, and when I did listen to him, maybe 30, 45 minutes. I appreciate Rush, but a lot of information and see why the liberals hated him. But, yeah, you're right. I mean, and Jimmy and I talk about it all the time.
Well, what happened
Brian and Steve.
What happened?
You guys should be national.
You don't think I know that? I am if you include my online, my online
exactly.
extensions. But I think I would, when they were looking for replacements, I didn't try to get it. Okay, I didn't try to get the job or anything. But since they're based here, and they were still based here at the time, I was doing some shout outs to try to get them to get me to fill in and at least get an audition. And if they would have, and what I was going to do I don't remember what the issue of the day was at the time, but I had said that if they would let me fill in for a week, I kind of laid out what I would do, including one day I would just take calls from black liberals. And I would have gone screenless, but they didn't ask me to fill in, so I didn't get to do it.
Man, that would have been all she wrote, because I tell you what, they'd be like, wait a minute, this works.
If they would have given me one day, I don't know if they would have let me go screenless, okay? But if they would have given me just one day, I would have announced at the beginning that I'm only going to take calls from black Democrats today. I would have done, if that was my one shot, that's what I would have done. But they didn't call me to do it. I was asking on the air. I was trying to get it, but it didn't happen. That would have been awesome. Who I really wanted them to give it to at the top of my list was Bill O'Reilly at the time. And I thought he should have, he would have been the best person that was realistically going to take that over. But, let me tell you, the thing that's missed about it is we don't have, Tucker Carlson, by the way, would be very good for that. But we don't have somebody at that level nationally that's driving the narrative. Everyone else is following the narrative. Everybody else is following what's trending in the news as opposed to establishing what the narrative is.
And that's why you and Steve would have been so good. And I just want to say this real quick. As far as sports, you know more than you think, because you know what? The second thing to politics I liken the comparison to is sports. And of course, marketing, the manipulation of marketing, but sports, because you think about it, the most beneficial thing Democrats have done was get people to join their side. Say, okay, I am a Democrat. So no matter what they do, right, wrong, or indifferent, these people are stick to them like glue with their little loyalty, the base, I guess you call it.
Yeah.
But other than that, I have no idea why Democrats vote Democrat at all, even when all this new information is coming out.
A lot of times, a lot of times, when you talk about rank and file people, I mean, we're not talking about like people that follow. Most people, a lot of them are just a habit. It's a bad habit. And a lot of people don't follow the news, and don't know what's going on because they're busy working.
That's true.
All right, listen, I got to take a break, but thanks for the call. If any of you want to call in with your Rush memories, you're certainly welcome. But I'm going to get back to some things after the break. We'll get back on the issues. But we didn't get a chance to give Rush his due yesterday, and I wanted to make sure we did today. All right, we'll take the last break of the second hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. My name is Brian Craig. Back after this. Okay, we'll be back shortly. Mike and I are still coordinating because the delay is so crazy long today on our connection. When we get back, I'm going to talk about MyPillow. And if you guys want to support the program, go to MyPillow.com and use our promo code Kane. Free shipping is in effect. I'm going to talk about the mattress topper when we get back. I'm just waiting for Mike to give me the okay. We're coming back. If you're on hold, hang in there. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. If you're on hold, hang in there. I want to remind you guys the MyPillow mega sale continues, and it's free shipping on all orders, no matter how large or small, with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. And I want to talk about the MyPillow mattress topper. I've been sleeping on the 3-inch MyPillow mattress topper for years. Sometimes people ask me about the 2-inch mattress topper. I have the 2-inch mattress topper on our guest bed, and I got the 2-inch mattress topper for my daughter's sleeper sofa that I sleep on when I visit her, because the 2-inch MyPillow mattress topper folds up with the bed, with the sleeper sofa. It's awesome. The MyPillow mattress topper, just to tell you how it works, mattresses, you used to be able to flip them over. When I was a kid, that's what you did. You had a mattress for years and years. There was a problem with it. You flipped it over. It's like a new mattress. Well, years ago, the mattress companies, they woke up to that, and they don't have mattresses you can flip over anymore. Right? The bottom of it's like a box spring. So if you have a lumpy mattress, or one of the sides is messed up, or you think you need a new mattress, go and get the MyPillow 3-inch mattress topper. There's huge discounts on it right now. Huge. It comes in every mattress size, from twin all the way up to California King, and every size in between. When I got ours, it came on a Saturday. We slept on it that night. On that Sunday morning was the first Sunday in years that I woke up and the sun was out. That's amazing, right? That's how well I slept. You will sleep deeper than you've ever slept before with the MyPillow mattress topper. Huge discounts on the mattress toppers with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E, and of course free shipping as well when you use our promo code Kane at checkout at MyPillow.com. All right, to the phones we go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, Brian.
Yeah. Yeah, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling
Brian,
from? I can hear you.
What's that?
I got you.
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay, you're on the air.
Yeah, the first time I heard Rush was somebody said, "Hey, there's this new guy on the radio who's conservative." And I said, "Okay, I'll tune him in." And the next thing I know, this was like over 30 years ago, obviously. He goes, "Yeah, I think we should vote for Bill Clinton."
Who
and
said?
I go, "There's no way this guy's a conservative." And I listened to him for a little bit. I said, "I can't take this." So the very next day, I said, "Let me try him one more time," and realized he was he was just challenging his audience.
No, I don't know about that, but see what happened with Rush. Rush's popularity grew because at the time when Clinton became president, and it was just it was like a perfect storm. He was, he just was getting nationally syndicated at a time when we had a guy who seems pretty conservative by the standards of the Democrats today, although, Bill Clinton, and the timing was just perfect. If it wasn't for Bill Clinton's election, Rush may not have become the mega superstar he became. You never know. It was a lot of...
exactly. And I remember I talked to him one time. I listened to him over 30 years. I talked to him one time back when Schwarzenegger was running for governor.
Yeah.
And I remember the day after he passed away, Mark
Levin.
Stein. Mark Stein.
Oh, Mark
came
Stein.
In. Every time he came on, he would say, "Your host is away."
Mm-hmm.
That time, that the next day, he says, "Your host is away," and I was like, "Oh man."
You know, Mark Stein was very good, and I'm sure Mark Stein still is good, but he was a regular fill-in for Rush, and out of all the fill-ins for Rush, Mark Stein was my favorite. We used to have him on the show all the time, and I got to know him a little bit. I haven't talked to him in a long, long time, but he was very, very good, and I was kind of hoping, because I come on, I'm not crazy. I knew I wasn't going to get a chance, but I thought he had a chance. And he didn't. He never had a chance. And I think what happened, I think the establishment Republicans made sure that there wasn't a powerhouse that took over that time slot. I think they made sure that it was a mediocre replacement. Because I remember Rush, the speaker what was his name? Boehner, when he was Speaker of the House, would come down and meet with Rush to try to convince Rush. They had to sway Rush like they trying to wrangle members of the House to vote for bills. And they didn't want to have somebody there that was driving the narrative. I think they purposely put mediocre no talents in the spot. I thought that from the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great show. You know, I would work my schedule around to listen to him, just like I work my schedule around to listen to you.
Yeah. That's great. That's great. All right, I appreciate the call.
Great day.
All right, take care. Yeah, it's really unfortunate, you know. Even Mark Levin would be better than these guys. Mark Levin's a nighttime guy, but I'd rather have him than this. All right, so getting back to the issues of the day, though, there's a lot going on. Now, yesterday, I went over those Social Security numbers. We have people as old as over 300 years old that they have on the Social Security thing. And they're all of a sudden they're trying to say, oh, well, those people aren't getting payments. They got all this. The number, these people are not. There's around 10 million people over 120 that Social Security has as active. Okay, whether or not these numbers are getting benefits, we don't 100% know at the time. But what we do know is that the Social Security Administration knows there's something very illegal and going on with these numbers, because yesterday the head of the Social Security Administration, without notice, resigned. Listen to this. This is in the Daily Mail. The acting commissioner of Social Security Administration has quit. She says after a disagreement with Elon over DOGE trying to access the government records. This is nonsense. Okay, this woman resigned as the Social Security Administrator because she wanted to resign before she had to deal with an investigation and a reveal. Okay, these 10 million, they're on the Social Security listings for a reason. Okay, and like with these other government agencies, there's a lot of panic going on in Washington over these things. And if she resigns now, there's been no investigation yet. She's got whatever benefits she's entitled. I don't know how long she's worked for the government, and it's a lot easier. She's not going to be fired or replaced by the Trump administration and demoted, and she's not going to have to deal with the investigation. This woman that resigned yesterday did not resign because she wants to protect Social Security from Musk. Elon Musk has the highest top secret clearance, higher than this woman or anyone else, because of SpaceX. He launches rockets every day into space. Okay, he's going to rescue the astronauts soon. So he's got a high level of security, as do the DOGE people. Okay, and that's not why she resigned. There's something about these numbers that they don't want the public to know. That's it. That is it. Okay, make no mistake about it. Now, if you're on hold, stand by. We'll get back to the calls after the top of the hour. I want to tell you guys, a week from today, Tuesday the 25th, I'm going to be with Attorney Barry Siegel. Next Tuesday, Attorney Barry Siegel has a revocable living trust workshop at the Spanish River Library in Boca at 10 a.m. And I'm going to be there, and you are all invited, okay? It's the Spanish River Library in Boca a week from today, Tuesday the 25th. And I'm going to give you Attorney Barry Siegel's number. If you could give them a call, they'll give you directions, of course. But if you could let them know if you're coming, it's completely free. But if you call and let them know you're coming, it helps so far as the size room and how many chairs we need, okay? And, of course, Attorney Barry Siegel's office number is 1-800- No, that's William Youngerman's number. It is 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782 is Attorney Barry Siegel's number. But I'll be there with Barry, and you are all invited to Spanish River Library Tuesday, a week from today, the 25th, at 10 a.m. Okay? The event's completely free. And I look forward to seeing you all there, all right? Okay, we're going to take our break for the top of the hour and come back for the third and final hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian, back after this. All right, welcome back, everyone. My name's Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll take some calls, and then we got a few other issues I have not touched on yet that are very big and very important. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. It's Joanne from Pamela.
Hey, Joanne. What's up?
Yeah, I heard a little piece of news information on a news show that I thought was kind of interesting. In the past 30 days, over 4,000 homes were put up for sale in the Washington, D.C., Virginia area. And they also are in such a rush to sell these houses, they're dropping the price by an average of $140,000.
Yeah.
And my thinking is either these people got to get out of town or they cannot any longer afford to pay for them.
Well, you know, there was a story that came out a few days ago that showed a graphic of from Zillow, the online thing, and it had all these houses for sale. And they were like $1 million homes, $900,000 homes in that area. And then the next day, or maybe even later that day, they came out and said that's not true. And then over the weekend, there's a couple other real estate platforms that showed the same thing. So, you know, I don't know. I don't know if that's true or not. The number of houses that are for sale in Virginia, because that first thing was debunked. But Zillow and some of these things can be politically like I remember they had that fake trial against Trump about the value of Mar-a-Lago. They said Mar-a-Lago is $1 billion property. And they were saying it was worth $18 million or something. I'm like, the bathroom costs more than $18 million. And I did a live stream on YouTube. I actually showed the Zillow listing of the properties around Mar-a-Lago. And right next door to Mar-a-Lago, this is when that trial was going on, there was an empty lot, a small empty lot, big enough for one mansion, but a small empty, it was over $50 million, okay? And I went, and then a week or two later, it was gone. You couldn't look up that property anymore. So the Democrats got to it and purged Zillow of the property prices around Mar-a-Lago because they were trying to get Trump sent to prison. So I don't know if the housing sales are true or not, because we've heard conflicting reports. However, so much of the money has been shut off from USAID, a lot of people haven't been getting paid. So if they're not getting paid, how are they going to make the mortgage payments? So they don't want to get foreclosed on. And if there's going to be a lot of quick selling, you want to get yours on the market first. So it does, you know, the value is as high as you can get for it. Yeah. So yeah, there'll be people selling there. I've always wondered when over the years, sometimes there'll be someone that's in local government, sometimes a bureaucrat, sometimes a judge, a congressman or something. And for whatever reason, they'll show their house, and they're always mansions. And I always wondered how these people that work for the government all live in mansions. Well, now we know.
Yeah, well, I thought it was kind of interesting. I guess we'll see where it goes. Thank you, and have a wonderful day.
All right, take care. Yeah, the exodus might be like Detroit because they can't afford them. Now, President Trump posted yesterday on Truth Social a new poll for the governor's race in the state of Florida, which is less than 2 years away now. And spoiler alert, Byron Donalds is not only in the lead, he's in the lead by far. President Trump posted this, okay? It says here, a new victory polling survey shows, this is President Trump posted this, a new victory polling survey shows Byron Donalds far ahead of all other contenders in a hypothetical primary for Florida governor. Now, I told you guys about 2 years ago, year and a half ago, he was running for governor. For anybody else, he's denied it. I told you, I saw him speak at Turning Point USA, and it was right after Tucker was fired. So whenever that was, and as soon as I saw that, I went on the air and I said, he's running for governor of Florida, Byron Donalds. And so here's the poll. They have 4 people in the survey. I've only heard of one of them. Byron Donalds is at 31. Jeanette Nunez, who's the lieutenant governor for DeSantis, is at 4%. And there's two guys I've never heard of. One's at 3%, one's at 1%. So Byron Donalds is way, 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 way ahead. And this would make a lot of sense because Byron Donalds, I got to tell you, who the nominee for president is going to be the second MAGA president, we really don't know yet. It's not a given that it's J.D. Vance. I mean, he's the favorite right now because he's the sitting vice president. He'd have to get passed over to not get the nomination, but we don't know. It's too far out. But very few, I know there's a new trend lately, but very few presidents come from Congress, certainly the House. They do other things first, most of the time. There's exceptions, and we've had some senators lately, unfortunately. But Byron Donalds running for, he has that House seat for the rest of his life. He never has to worry again. He has to run every 2 years, but he has his House seat locked in for the rest of his life. To leave that for governor, because he'd have to resign and become governor if he won, and I think he'd win, unless something dramatic happens. He's doing that because he plans on either running for president or being the running mate for whoever gets the nomination in the next election. I don't know if Byron Donalds, I've seen him speak and he's very good. I haven't seen him in action enough times to know if he's a top of the ticket kind of guy. We'll find out, but he's running for governor because he plans on running for president or vice president. That's it. And Ron DeSantis, without question, is running for president right now. Good luck with that, okay? Because he's done. And I hope that DeSantis does not endorse Byron Donalds. If he endorses Byron Donalds, Ron DeSantis, that means he's trying to stop Byron Donalds from becoming governor of Florida. Florida, the Democrats have no chance. We've had Republican governors since 1998. Florida is running the country right now. We've got the president, we've got the Secretary of State, we've got the Attorney General. And for some reason, I want to think that Kash Patel lives in Florida. I could be wrong, but I for some reason that seems familiar. Just maybe he spends a lot of time here because MAGA's based out of here. But he might have a house in Florida. I'm not sure. But the thing about Byron Donalds, is it possible that he's also looking for that Senate seat in 2 years? It very well could be that he's looking at that Senate seat because the woman that DeSantis appointed, she's only got 2 years. We're going to have our Senate election in 2 years too. But I think he's looking to be governor to make his way to run for president. All right, we'll take our first break of the third hour. If you're on hold, hang in there. Our number, 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back. Barry? Hey, Barry, hold on. All right, we are back. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show. On the line, Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning, Brian. How are you today?
Great. A week from today, we're going to be together at the Spanish River Library in Boca.
Yeah, I'm very excited about that. And actually, we have a lot of seminars happening this next. Actually, today we're doing one in Naples on the West Coast in beautiful Naples, Florida. And then, as you mentioned, next week, next Tuesday, at 10 a.m. at Spanish River Library, and we have our special guest Brian Craig who will be there.
Oh, yes.
And then we're also really excited because just 2 days later, Thursday, I believe it's the 27th at 10 a.m. We're also holding another one in West Palm Beach, in downtown West Palm Beach. So if you are interested in learning more about living trusts, estate planning, how to protect your assets from the cost of long-term care, making sure that you leave everything to your loved ones in a protected manner, and much, much more, please just call our office or go to our website and register, and we'll look forward to seeing you and giving you some useful information that can help you and your family gain peace of mind.
Absolutely. But the one with me is the one to be at. Okay, guys? That's going to be the hip happening one. But I'm going to be with Attorney Barry Siegel. It's a week from today, Tuesday the 25th, at the Spanish River Library in Boca. I'm going to give you the number to the Siegel Law Group, and they can give you the directions. But also, if you could call ahead, it's free, and let them know you're coming. It allows them to know how many seats they need and things like that. And it helps with the organization of it. And all of us would appreciate if you did that. But this is one of Attorney Barry Siegel's Revocable Living Trust workshops. I've been to many of these, but I haven't been to one in a long, long time. And you are all invited. So it's the Spanish River Library in Boca, a week from today, Tuesday the 25th at 10 a.m. So when I get off the air, I'm going to head straight there. And the Siegel Law Group's number is 855-FLA-3782, 855-FLA-3782. And online, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Barry, I look forward to seeing you there.
All right, thank you, Brian.
All right, take care. We are back. You know, I ran into Barry at the mall a while back, and I didn't recognize him at first because it was the first time I'd seen Barry not in a suit, because he's always, you know, he was out of his lawyer clothes. I ran into him and his daughter. It was nice to see him. All right, welcome back, everyone. So we've covered a lot. You're welcome to call in about anything I've brought up so far at 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. I was, during the break, I was reading over this article of the exit of the Social Security Administrator. She is in a hysterical panic. I'm going to go through this in a minute. But just to recap, so yesterday, I shared it here on the air, Elon Musk released that list of the age brackets of people on, that Social Security has listed as alive, and there were people over 300 years old on that list. There's about 10 million, maybe a little bit more, maybe a little bit less, but roundabout, there's about 10 million people on the Social Security rolls who are over the age of 120 years old. And there's a panic going on about this. Now, they tried to say, oh, those people are all dead. We just, they just haven't been marked as dead. No one's getting the money. Really? Then why, a few hours later, did the head of the Social Security Administration resign? I'm going to go through this story. It was a panicked, emotional decision. It's almost like she's on the run. And a lot of them know. Remember when Trump fired that FBI director like 2 days before he got his 20-year pension? So a lot of these people, they quit. They quit on their own terms. They don't have to deal with the investigation. the embarrassment they think, and they got their benefits. They don't want to be fired or replaced or brought into human resources or something. When they tried to tell us, these numbers, there's nothing wrong here. They just died a long time ago, and they didn't have computers back then, so we didn't know. Come on, give me a break. There's something going on with those Social Security numbers and the monies and everything. And whatever it is, the Social Security administrator that quit in a hysterical walkout yesterday, unannounced and unplanned, she knows something. Maybe she knows everything. But let me go through. I was surprised how dramatic this was. Listen to this. This is in the Daily Mail. The acting commissioner of the Social Security Administration quit after a disagreement with Elon Musk over the first buddy in DOGE's attempt to access government records. I bet. See, a lot of the things they do, they don't have records for. That's why I'm not expecting much from the Kennedy assassination files, because when you're conspiring to do something like in Dealey Plaza, you don't have records of it. However, with the Social Security, since you've got the numbers and there's money involved and all kinds of things, there's records because they need to have, it's automatically done. She said, it says here, Musk's presence beside Trump early in his second term, he's used DOGE in his quest to slash unnecessary waste, fraud, and abuse, blah, blah, blah. Social Security is no different, as Musk shared staggering data claiming there are millions of dead Americans still eligible for Social Security payments. Michelle King, this is the Social Security Administrator head that without notice panicked and quit yesterday. Michelle King, a career government bureaucrat. Is there another kind of bureaucrat? Are they all? It's like, saying Jewish rabbi, right? I think all bureaucrats are government workers, so you don't have to say government bureaucrat, I guess. Michelle King, a career bureaucrat who has worked for the Social Security Administration since 1994 until being named to the top post this year, clashed with Musk over his attempt to access sensitive government records. Now, this is nonsense because, again, Elon Musk has the highest top secret government clearance from the federal government because he launches rockets into space every day, okay? What I know is that DOGE wanted to access Social Security's sensitive files the same way they're trying to do it at Labor and Treasury, and the acting commissioner wouldn't give it, and she was replaced, Nancy Altman, president of Social Security Works, told the Washington Post. It's unclear what records DOGE was trying to access. Well, maybe who these 10 million people are over 120. Are there checks going out to them being deposited? Where's the money? What's this all about? Trump was has already nominated someone to get the role permanently, but she's been running it since. In the meantime, the agency will be led by a career Social Security anti-fraud expert as the acting commissioner. Well, if they have an anti-fraud expert, his purpose is probably to try to how to hide the fraud. Okay? Give me a break. And it goes on. I don't need to go into more details of it. This woman did not flee because there's nothing fishy going on. She knows. She knows a lot about what's going on here, and she's been there her whole life, since Clinton was president. Oh, man, this is exciting. Oh, no, actually, 94. Yeah, Clinton was president in 94. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Jim from New York. How you doing?
Hey, Jim. Oh, exciting times, man.
Yes, it is. Regarding the Social Security number thing, I have a buddy of mine who runs, let's say, doesn't own it, but he runs a landscaping type business. Mm-hmm. And he told me years ago that they do is for some of the people who aren't here legally, they recycle dead people's Social Security numbers. So they're using those for employment. They're using them to have these people collect, I bet you. So I bet you that's where some of this is going too.
And some of it maybe this is how they run secret deep state operations. I don't know, like those Patriot Front. Maybe they pay these organizations through phony things like this. Who knows? You remember the Patriot Front, those undercover feds pretending to be racist, MAGA people? Yeah. They a lot of this Social Security and a lot of this fraud probably goes to fund things like that aren't legit.
And you know what? To your point, the fact that these people are acting out and freaking out, they're implicating themselves.
See, if you were on the up and up, right? If you're this lady, you're running Social Security, and you're on the up and up, and something like this happens, right? There's 10 million people over 120, right? On the Social Security rolls. What you say is, oh man, it's about time. This has been bugging me for years. I couldn't get anybody to pay attention to it. I just became the head last year, and I'm up to my eyeballs. I'm so glad you're here, Mr. Elon Musk. This. I don't know if it's fraud. I don't know what's going on, but she didn't do that. She ran for the hills. She escaped. She fled, is what she did. She knows. So this woman knows what's going on. She knows something about what's going on with it.
Oh, so many of them in Washington do, but you're right. She implicated herself by carrying on with this fake crocodile tears nonsense yesterday. So she knows. They all know.
They put this stand. We won't let him have access to sensitive data. He has access to the most top secret security clearance you can have because of SpaceX. So this idea that secrets aren't safe with Elon is absurd.
Yeah, they're so outraged about personal, data, like they were with Joe the plumber when they released his personal stuff and all the, other things that they've done. The IRS when they're using IRS against conservatives 10 years ago under Obama.
This Trump. When you catch thieves, they panic. And the thing about this Trump derangements, I saw a clip and Elon's talking about Trump derangement syndrome. How bad it is. These astronauts that have been stranded for forever on the space station, he's going to rescue them. And the Boeing astronauts that were been stranded up there, they're never Trumpers. All of a sudden, the stranded astronauts say they're not stranded. They said this last week. As soon as can you believe? It's the first recorded instance of Trump derangement syndrome off the planet. It's in space now. I'm serious.
On a footnote, unrelated, Jay from Jersey.
Yes.
I tend to wonder, Jay from Jersey sometimes sounds like Aunt Esther from San Francisco.
Yes.
Do you think
there is some wonder if he's what his pronouns really are. I agree. Hey, listen, I got to run for a break. Thanks for the call. There are questions about that. If you're on hold, stand by. It's the Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian. Back after this.
J. Trump.
All right, stand by. We're coming back shortly. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Welcome back, one and all. We're going to go back to our phones. We've covered so much today. Oh, my goodness. There's a lot of news happening. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Good morning, IB and Broward.
Hey, IB. What's up?
Can you hear me okay?
I can, yeah.
If you guys wasn't talking about Rush, I might have just been listening today, but I must say that most people in this audience will agree with me that you are our Rush, because I go back to the teens. When I was a teen listening to Rush on his radio, then he had a television show for a very brief period of time in the 80s. You know, so we're going back to Sally Jesse Raphael and Donahue and Geraldo and, you know, Gordon Downey Jr. and so forth. So I've been following stuff for a long time, but getting more wiser as I get older. And I just want you to know, Brian, that when you took the film of Rush when he passed at his front gate with all of the cards in the plastic preserved, I want you to know that that was the closest I've ever been to Rush.
Yeah, you know what IB said. Yeah, I know it's tough. You know what happened was when Rush passed away, I went to his house, and I showed what people were leaving at the front gate of Rush's house, and it was a beautiful memorial. And Rush's wife actually came out and put cards that people were leaving cards and things at the gate when Rush passed, and Rush's wife was putting them in plastic bags and attached them to the gate because, you know, it rains all the time in Florida, to protect them. It was beautiful. I know, it was pretty emotional.
It hit me pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm sure you also remember when I said that I heard that Trump was biblically sent, and you were like, "Where'd you hear that?" And I said, "I don't remember." But I was listening very intently in 2015 and 16, very intently to Rush, and it might have been something he played, like a clip, like you do now sometimes. So he's like the original social media. You can just check in with him when it comes to politics, and he was our original social media, if you come to think of it. Yeah. I might have heard that particular phrase on a clip from his show in retrospect, but
it's
don't
possible.
give me
All right, IB, take care. We all miss Rush. There's no doubt about that. He was awesome. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian Thumb. I just had a quick question for you. When they get all this money, right, out of Social Security, are they going to give it to the American people?
Well, that's it's funny you say that. That's very possible. Yeah, George W. Bush, who went on to be a war criminal, but George W. Bush gave a tax cut, and he gave all taxpayers received a rebate check in the mail that year. Remember that? And
Well,
it was like $300 or something. I can't remember. Anybody remembers? A long time ago. And
well,
and I would not be surprised if Trump sent American taxpayers a rebate check, and it'll be more than $300. I would think maybe $5,000, $10,000 sounds good to me.
Well, I mean, the standard money they give people today, they can't even live on, older people. So hopefully it goes up.
I mean, listen, we've been even you are starting to wake up to Trump. I can tell in the tone of your voice. You're going to deny that now probably. But, we see what's happened with our tax money that we work so hard to pay the government, what they've been doing with it. The corrupt judge getting millions of dollars in the one case, the other judge, wife getting money. These Social Security numbers, all this stuff.
I still do. I do have enthusiasm towards him getting things done. But,
You're waking up. Look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. Hold on.
Oh, excuse me.
This is amazing.
Hold on. He has not ended the war in Ukraine, nor has he brought Zelensky.
It's happening. The peace talks are going on right now in Saudi Arabia. Haven't you seen? Hey, listen, thanks for the call. We don't want to spoil it, but did you see what's going on there? Did you see what's going on with Tom? A lot of times you guys say, why do you talk to these liberal jerks? I hear that all the time. I wouldn't talk to these. And I tell you guys, I said every time I've done a personal appearance, Steve and I, over the years, there's always at least one person, usually many, multiple, that say, I used to be a Democrat, I used to be a never-Trumper until I listened to you for so number of years, and now I'm conservative, or now I'm MAGA. And Tom, I ended the call because he was starting to go back into that, he's like an alcoholic, recovering from being a liberal never-Trumper is like alcoholism. Or giving up drug addiction, they can slide back. And you could tell this spending that's been exposed has woken up Tom. And Tom is disgusted by the Democrats, and even he's waking up to Trump. Did you hear that? So he's not MAGA yet, but he's in rehab. You can tell he's recovering. That's awesome. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is Gary, and I'm calling from Balls Deep and your mom.
Oh, that's nice. You get that, Mike? Isn't that nice? Oh my goodness. Yeah. Oh my goodness. First time Mike had to use the delay today. If you're on hold, stand by as we wait for the delay to re-engage. Oh my goodness. Our number is 1-888-465-2631. 1-888-465-2631. But the call with Tom was a very, very powerful call. His voice was even different. He didn't sound like his normal deranged self. And he's whatever he does, he works hard for his money. You can tell. He's a whatever Tom does, he's a working guy. He's a little vague about it, but he's a working guy. Now he's gonna slide back into that never Trumperism, okay? But we had just a brief moment where he woke up and he wasn't a liberal pod person. Just for a moment, he woke up, but he's going to slide back in. But the money, it shows you the power of what DOGE is doing. That people that are hardcore never Trumpers are even like shocked. It's like you got to look behind the curtain, right, in The Wizard of Oz. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Brian, how are you today?
Hi.
I was going to say, Brian, that we're living in amazing times, but when I start to hear Tom and Never Trumper Steve coming around, it's truly amazing.
Well, Never Trumper Steve hasn't come around. No, but Tom, his voice was even different.
He sounded a little bit more upbeat, more energetic.
Normal.
It's a great day. It's a great day. One thing I was going to say, Brian, that's really caught my eye. When you compare this administration, Trump's administration, to the prior administration, I'm seeing the development of very young cabinet-level people who are becoming great spokesmen, very articulate, especially when I saw Vance's speech in Europe, Marco Rubio, the way he handled Margaret Brennan, and when he was in the Mideast talking with Benjamin Netanyahu. And I forget the guy, Wycliffe, the guy who helped to negotiate and get our prisoner out of Russia. very articulate staff, very doing a great job, and it's a reflection at the top spot of Donald Trump.
Well, what he's done, and J.D. Vance in Munich over the weekend, if you guys not watched that speech, watch it. Over the weekend, I did a YouTube video. I played the whole speech and analyzed it. It's 18 minutes and 59 seconds long. So, go, watch my YouTube video about it from the weekend. I thought I had some pretty good analysis on it as I went through it. Everywhere. But the I couldn't do it on the radio because I'd be in big trouble if I played a 19-minute speech on the radio. I'd be in big trouble. Who would listen to that? But I guess I could play it. It would take me 3 hours to analyze it like that. But anyway, the call with Tom is powerful because DOGE is working. One of the main purposes of DOGE is to expose the government corruption. But when you talk about this new young field that he's put together, The Apprentice is back, The Political Apprentice. It's the first season. And when President Trump was asked the other day about is J.D. Vance your successor, and he said no, he has to earn it. But what he was saying, he didn't say he has to earn it, but he has to prove himself. And we've got this team of a lot of great people, Byron Donalds and everybody.
And young people too. Young people are going to be there for quite a while. It's really tremendous. Marco Rubio's but when he took down Margaret Brennan, I thought that was epic.
Well, Marco Rubio, some people are saying he could be JD's running. Marco Rubio's not a bottom of the ticket kind of guy. He would, if he had to be the vice president, he would take a pass and wait till 32.
Yeah. But Brian made a good point. It's funny because you listen to the callers while you're waiting, but when I hear the change a little bit in Tom and Never Trump or Steve, I say, wow, this is really having an impact.
What did I miss with Never Trump or Steve? He was as nasty as ever last time he called.
Well, I know, but I think with Tom coming around, I think you're going to see Steve come around too because they've been pretty much hardcore.
Tom, the next time we hear from Tom, he'll be as rabid as ever. He'll fall back into that. That was a brief moment with him of the beginning of his recovery from Never Trumperism.
His 7-step recovery or whatever.
Well, the reason I ended the call is because I heard him getting ready to relapse, and I didn't want to destroy all the progress we made by having a relapse. So I stopped it.
Well, I think it took Tom quite a bit to come and kind of make those reflections on the air, and I got to give him a lot of credit for that.
All right, I got to run, but thank you for the call. All right, take care.
Bro.
Now, I want to tell you guys about the free doorbell camera offer from Sloman's. It's a great offer. You got to get. I've had this camera for ages. It is so awesome, and you can get a free doorbell camera that connects directly to your cell phone with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Sloman's, they're also going to give you a free customized home security system and professional installation when you use their low-cost central station monitoring. You get an LED touchscreen, a motion detector, 10 contacts for your doors and windows, a lifetime warranty, and backup battery. Plus, you'll receive a free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. Give them a call no matter where you're located. It's toll-free. Get that free doorbell camera with the installation of your Sloman Shield. 1-800-ALARM-ME. 1-800-ALARM-ME. It's easy to remember, isn't it? 1-800-ALARM-ME. We'll take our last break and be back. Hey there, hold on. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to... Oh, no, well, we got more time. We're not back yet. False cue, false start. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, and it's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals are looking very good, Brian. The market's having tested the $2,900 range, and getting just right under that area on Friday. Ran up Monday at $15.90 to close out the day at $28.98. Silver was up 24 cents, closing out yesterday at $32.37. While platinum gained $5 at $9.79, and palladium was up $14 at $966. This morning, the rally continues in gold, up $25 now at $2,923 the ounce, right on the highs that we've seen so far this morning. Silver up 28 cents at $32.66. Platinum down $3 at $9.75, and palladium down $4 at $9.62. So gold is looking like it's ready to challenge and break through the all-time record highs of $29.45.
Wow.
Having tested some of the lower areas a couple of days, giving us a little bit of a buying opportunity, but it certainly looks like we're going to see $3,000 gold sooner than I thought.
Oh, my goodness. That's going to be a day. I can't wait for that day. Well, hey, listen, guys, it's never too late to get in. William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. He's located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway. And his number is 1-800-327-5010. 1-800-327-5010. And on his website, you can find both his address and phone number, williamyoungerman.com. And William doesn't just sell the metals, he buys them. And at these prices, William Youngerman sounds like a good time for people to turn that old broken jewelry or silverware or, the sterling silver sets and all that, to turn it into money.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. All right, William Youngerman, we'll touch base. We'll touch base tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day. Thanks.
All right, we are back. Oh, man, this is exciting days. All right, back to the phones. Very busy phones today. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Gary from Gary, Indiana.
Oh, yeah, sure. There you go. Hold on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, it's Jack calling from Connecticut.
Hey, Jack, what's up?
Hey, I was listening to you about that woman at Social Security that just up and quit.
Yeah.
And she's going to get all of her benefits. I have often thought that people at that level, when they take those jobs, they should be able to be recalled after they.
Well, sure. No, if you're retired. And we know how hard it is to retire because of that mine, the iron ore mine, mountain or whatever, where they have all the records, right? If they find out there's crimes involved, they can come after you. Just because you've retired doesn't mean they can't come after you criminally. Doesn't mean you've been pardoned.
Okay.
But she, the way that she, it's interesting what she.
Take her benefits away.
Well, no, she. We don't know. No, they haven't found any crime yet. This is the beginning of an investigation. Here's the thing. Usually, what happens. This is a very unusual thing that's going on. Usually, what happens. People try to stay in that job, so they think they can cover it up. Like when we had the Parkland shooting here in Florida. The sheriff wouldn't resign, even though he knew he was going to be removed by Governor DeSantis, because as long as he was the sheriff, he could control the flow of information coming out. And what she did was an emotional, hysterical, panicked reaction. So to me, that tells me she knows something.
Yep.
It's like I said, what I told the last caller was this, okay? This is what, if you're an honest person, and you're in her position, and this information comes out, how would you react? If you were her, this information came out, you're not a crook, how would you react? She acted like somebody who's very guilty. What would you do in her position if you were not guilty?
If I wasn't guilty, I'd stay there.
Yeah, and I would welcome DOGE in. And my conversation would be, Elon Musk, I have been so upset about this for years. No one would do anything about it. Anytime I brought it up, I was dismissed or shut down. I'm so glad you're here so we can finally end this corruption. right? But what she did was
definitely.
leave in a panic, which means she knows something or is involved in something. Hey, listen, thanks for the call. And you can tell by the way people react to things whether or not they have any guilt or not. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, Brian, this is...
Yeah, hold on. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Morning, Brian. It's JJ from Mass.
Hey, JJ, what's up?
Well, getting back to getting onto these judges, and them ordering DOGE to stop investigating, looking for corruption. It kind of brings back memories of a vice president we had. Convincing a country to drop an investigation for corruption into Burisma.
Oh yeah, that's exactly
it's
right.
Like a playbook. This is their playbook.
See, that's why Goldbar Menendez, he just can't understand. He can't understand, why am I going to prison, but everybody's doing it on a much larger scale than me. I just took 10 million in gold bars from Egypt. Come on. He doesn't understand.
Yeah, this kind of reminds me when I think about DOGE and the dog, and I look at it like it's sort of like a Scooby-Dooby-Doo cartoon. Elon Musk is driving the mystery machine, and Scooby-Doo is DOGE, and at the end of it, the Democrats are all screaming, "We would have got away with it if it weren't for those darn kids."
If it weren't for those kids, what a great Saturday Night Live skit that would be. If it weren't for those kids, and they pull off the mask and it's Elon, or something, or Trump.
Yep.
Trump and Elon.
Scooby snacks.
No, yeah, that's great.
They're finding
that's great.
corruption everywhere. They're finding corruption everywhere.
This Social Security administrator that I've been talking about today, who quit unexpectedly. Does she not look guilty?
Imagine that, Brian. Imagine that. She quit. I think we should. I think that's going to happen a lot more. There's going to be a lot of people that every place DOGE goes, people are just going to start not coming into work and moving to foreign countries. But it's sort of like, I think all these people, I watched The Untouchables the other day, and there's a scene in there where Sean Connery says to Costner, we're going to break into the post office. He goes, "What are we doing here?" And he turns to them. Connery turns to Costner and says, "Everybody knows where the booze is."
That's right.
The problem is who wants to cross Capone? Well, I think everybody in the government, the people they all know where the corruption is.
Yeah, that's the dramatic scene where that's when they grabbed the shotguns and walked across the street. You can't come in here. What are you doing? Yeah, that's a good one.
Exactly.
I've seen that movie 100 times.
Remember Schumer?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie. Schumer says, they had 6 different ways from Sunday to get back at you.
That's right.
Well, the whole thing is the Democrats and the Republicans, they're both crime families for the crime syndicate of the. Donald Trump comes along. He doesn't belong to either one.
Well,
of
the
those
question
crime families.
is,
He belongs to.
We're seeing all this corruption being exposed, but no one's been charged yet or anything. And I'm hoping Pam Bondi is just waiting for Kash Patel to get confirmed.
Yeah, I believe she is. But I believe there's a lot of. I think the planning for who they were going to be going after. I look at there's a 5-year statute of limitations on federal crimes. And to me, the most important
but these are ongoing federal crimes because every time there's a deposit, you restart it. Every time there's a transaction.
That type of stuff, yes. What I'm talking about is things that could benefit the country. Because I look at the elections.
Well, listen, I'm running towards the end, so I'll give you the final word though, because I gotta run.
Well, I just, God bless MAGA and Brian. You don't need notes, buddy. You're pretty good at
That's
your job.
right. I do need notes for the phone numbers for the live spots, though. I do need that because sometimes. But other than that, I don't. You know what I'm talking about on the 5. Come on. If you watch the 5 moving forward, you won't be able to unsee it. All right, take care. Thanks for the call. Now, I want to tell you guys about Dr. Philip Appleton. Yeah, I need no notes for Dr. Appleton except for the phone number because I might give you his cell phone number since Dr. Appleton and I text so much and talk. But, when I tell you he's rid me of pain 7 times, the pains he rid me of were god-awful pains. When I went in there, the first time I injured my shoulder, it was on a Saturday. I made no appointment. I just showed up because appointments are not necessary, even on Saturdays. I was in so much pain. I was almost in tears. And I said, Doc, I'm going to need all your powers of miracle work today. And I said, I know I'm going to have surgery. And by the time I was leaving his office, I was feeling better. The pain was already going away. Okay. And I said, Doc, I said, if I would have gone to the orthopedics, they'd have had the surgery scheduled already. He's like, yeah, all right. So, he is amazing. And the laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. This is a very incomplete list, okay? Arthritis, bursitis, work injuries, sports injuries, strains and sprains, repetitive motion injuries, post-surgical swelling, neck and back injuries, knee pain, tinnitus, sciatica, spinal stenosis, fibromyalgia, plantar fasciitis. I've heard terrible stories about the pain that causes. Rotary tears, herniated discs, acute pain, chronic pain. The list goes on. Give them a call. The only thing you have to lose is your pain. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. Give Dr. Appleton a call and say bye-bye to your pain. Online, AppletonChiro.com. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Yeah, okay, that's what I figured. Okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? There you go. All right. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Michael from Long Island. How you doing?
All right, Michael. What's up?
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Kash Patel, and I think Trump is doing an outstanding job. Just wanted to talk about that. I think he's living up to everything that he said he was going to do. I think this guy's going to go down as, I think, the greatest president of all time. And I'm really looking forward to the Kash Patel nomination, when he gets nominated, because then I think stuff that, shit's really going to hit the fan.
Oh, there you go, Mike. Last call of the day. Hit the dump. Oh, my goodness. Yes. Oh, boy. You always got to have one finger on the dump, Mike, right? Oh, my goodness. Nice guy, but poor choice of words. I always say, I said this earlier in the show, whenever I take that one last call that I shouldn't take because of the time, then that happens. Listen, guys, we'll be back tomorrow at 6 a.m., and I got to about maybe 10% of my show prep today. There's so much happening in the news. But, Kash Patel's going through the committee today, then the Senate, and then it's really going to happen. Yeah. You think they'll stop calling us a racist when we have a non-white FBI director that's arresting all these Democrat criminals? All right, guys, listen. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show. Don't forget, I'll see you next Tuesday, a week from today, Spanish River Library at 10 a.m. with Attorney Barry Siegel. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. Take care, everyone. Have a great day. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Okay. And we're clear. Well, thanks for tuning in, everyone. If you're new, make sure that you subscribe, all right? Take care. I will see you all later. And if you missed any of the show, guys, rewind to the beginning because I covered quite a bit on the program. I came on before I went on the radio and covered some things before the radio show started. And then at the beginning of the show, I covered quite a bit that I didn't get a chance to get back to. So